Welcome to Day Zero Update for June 8th, 2025. I'm your host, Chris Elogi.
I'm Brandon Perkins.
And I'm Filippo D'Onofrio.
Yeah, we got a three-man crew this week as a bunch of stuff has happened, as you would expect. We had, I think we got 4 showcases here on the list here for today, because that's as much as I could watch and write down stuff that happened there.
And continue existing, yes, I understand.
Yeah.
I will cover the other stuff next week because there's a ton of cool indie stuff there. But
Oh, yeah.
for now, we'll get to these main 4 showcases, and there's like 2 other bits of news there. But before we get to all that stuff, we'll talk about what we've been playing, and I'll kick it off here as I got the Nintendo Switch 2. Went to my Best Buy on Wednesday nights. Got there about 11:30 ahead of time. Fairly sizable list, line of people on both sides. One for the pre-orders, one for the people without. And the way that they kind of handled things once it hit midnight is to let people in to go to the, I think, like 4 or 5 registers they had. Sort of start ringing people out on that stuff, and they give out sheets of paper of things you could pick up. There's not everything. But on the back they had like, here's some potential bundles they made up, and one was a Street Fighter 6 bundle that included the Switch 2, the year 1 and 2 Fighter Edition, and one of the amiibos, Luke. I was like, boy, this is a sicko bundle here, for all the ones that you could get there. So yeah, I just ended up getting the my Switch 2 with the Mario Kart code in the box. There are technically 2 different versions of that, depending on where you got it. I believe Best Buy is the one that had a sticker on it, not necessarily the is that like the special
one.
art on the box that one had it preloaded in some way. Mine had a code in it, which is fine. It works. I did the transfer when I got my Switch set up, but by the time I got home, it was like 1:15. I was like, I'm going to bed. Didn't want to sit here and deal with setting it all up. So yeah, that ended up being the right move. I got up early and set up that and played a little bit of Mario Kart World. It seems like the Wi-Fi on this thing is not the greatest, so downloads aren't as fast as they should be. The dock has an Ethernet port on it, so you could hook that up if you want.
Yeah.
The UI, the dashboard is pretty much the same for this. I did the transfer, so it brought over specific saves that can only be on one system. Like it said, it wipes them for that, which included like Animal Crossing. Also a bunch of demos that I'm like, who gives a shit about this? Stuff. They don't let you fine tune anything. So if I could have just had it transfer over saves and whatnot and just let me download the games I want on here, that would have been better, because otherwise it just brought over all the stuff I had installed, which is, a lot of Nintendo stuff and a few other big things, but also a lot of just random indie games that a lot of which are just ones I could get for, a small amount of change or free, things like that. It's like I had to spend a lot of time just trimming that out of there.
Yeah.
Because the library view is just bad on this. And now instead of having like a re-download list in the eShop, it is the virtual cards now.
Yes.
Which is useful in some ways for people that have families or friends or whatever they want to lend stuff to, but as a means for finding things to download, it is pretty bad. Especially because, one, it doesn't tell you what the size of any of this stuff is. So when you're working with a 256 gig internal storage, and I don't even know what the actual max size is there.
Yeah.
because it doesn't tell you; it just tells you what you have left. So I'd have to delete everything off of this thing to find that out.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume somebody has had a fresh Switch and seen what that is, so I could look it up
Mm.
at some point. But so yeah, it also with the virtual cards. I guess technically because I have my Switch here, those games were loaded on there. But when I went to go play them on my Switch 2, I had to be like, oh, we're checking, and like loaded it onto the Switch 2. Even
Yeah,
if I had it downloaded and all that, and it's just a weird system.
yeah, it
Mm.
does it as kind of a loan, which is really stupid.
Yeah,
I actually ran into that with my second Switch, and I had to just deregister my first Switch to be able to play my games again.
Yeah.
Stupid.
yeah. It's it's real weird, and luckily they have things in the settings for managing your installs and all that. But also the games, much like an Xbox, has to make sure even if you're fill it up with all games, it has to have X amount of extra space to handle saves or whatever extra data the game needs.
Yeah,
Um, some of which are small and some which are big. So I was downloading since I upgraded to the um, expansion pack tier of Nintendo Switch Online. I had like the N64 apps and GameCube app and GBA and Genesis apps to download, and I was like loading them up just to organize everything. And like Genesis or something needed like 3.1 gigs of space, and I was like, this can just sit here. I don't care about organizing this just at the moment. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff with that, managing things that was okay on a Switch when there wasn't a ton of stuff to manage, but now you're dealing with big boy games. The games that I was looking at for file sizes, like Cyberpunk, is like 58 gigs. Um, Hitman's like 56. I forget what I saw that was much bigger than that. It was like 60 something.
Fortnite.
Um, but yeah, like on a 256. No, Fortnite's like 35 gigs.
Mhm.
Mm.
Um, I forget I think it might have been Yakuza
Mm.
0. Um, so yeah, like those are
Mm.
games that are essentially about a fifth of your hard drive, maybe a fourth of what you actually have.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not a system where you can just download all the big stuff. Especially there's not much in the way of available options for the SD Express cards, micro SD Express cards yet.
There's a 256 out, and that's it right now.
Yeah, I think there's a 512, but that's still fairly expensive, and there's a 1 terabyte in the works. It'll be out at some point. But yeah, it's not going to be. It's not a viable system for those big games yet, really, unless you're really keeping tabs on what you have installed. So that's kind of the thing. The eShop is good now, or it doesn't
Better.
crash all the time. They have a recommendation thing in there. It's like a weekly recommendation thing, which since I have a bunch of free crap I got from various places, it recommends me a lot of that kind of stuff. Um, and you can like favorite things. You can't ignore anything. So you're just like, oh, okay, thank you for showing me this. We'll move on, kind of thing. So that's a neat addition, but otherwise, yeah, what they got in the eShop is kind of the same basic stuff. It is just kind of funny that they show in your accounts like here's there's just a re-download list, but then it's like go to the virtual cards. It's like this is all shit to manage for storage space wise, but yeah, there's that. I got a Pro controller which feels pretty good, but does not feel like an $85 controller. Like I think specifically it feels very plasticky, whereas DualSense and an Xbox controller have textures on the handles that make it feel nice and kind of add to um, the ability to kind of grip those pretty well. This thing, the D-pad's pretty good. It's got the C buttons like right between the D-pad and the right stick. Otherwise, everything feels pretty good on it. Time will tell if they've done anything really with the sticks for as far as drift is concerned, but I've never really had drift issues on the Switch, so hopefully that's the same case here. I also got the GameCube controller from Nintendo Switch Online. That's an exclusive there, which is pretty nice. The interesting thing is, so this controller with the main buttons that it has would be unusable for anything but the GameCube games.
Yeah.
Because it's just 3 buttons on the top. But they added a secret ZL button that's almost kind of flush with the plastic there in front of the L button. It's very tiny, maybe about the size of the start button. But the placement of it and the size of it makes it real hard to hit. And that's the button that it uses for the save state menu and all that in the NSO stuff. So every time I go to get that, it's like my finger's like, wait, where? Oh, there it is. Okay, I gotta hit it there. Almost like a hard to reach thing. And yeah, they have your C button, your home button, and all that on the top there. And all that. The sticks are fairly tight up front, which isn't too big of a surprise. But apparently they improved on the D-pad or the way they made it, so it's a little more responsive than it was in the original GameCube kind of thing. But yeah, the face button's going to take time to get used to for things, but otherwise this thing seems pretty solid. I was playing a couple hours of Wind Waker, basically getting to the point where I could, or I'm about to go to the first big area to get your sister back, because she's a dingus that hangs out on this bridge as this giant bird is flying around. So there's that. But that game looks pretty good. It seems like they've done some work on making these games kind of less aliased and all that. So that works out pretty well. I also played F-Zero GX and remember like, oh yeah, this is very hard.
Yes.
Though I did manage to win a few races. I did like the first like Grand Prix thing, which went I think 5 races. I managed to win I think 3 or 4 of them, mainly by holding your energy till near the end of the last lap and just spamming it a bunch and just zooming past everybody, which probably works for the easier races. But once you start getting to the part where it just gets tougher, I assume that's going to be where it kicks you in the ass. And yeah, that's seeing that game for the first time in a long time. That is very much an arcade game in all its style. So that's it's a different vibe than the other F-Zero games with that stuff. And yeah, it's a neat game. But that's all the GameCube stuff. I didn't play Soul Calibur because that's not a great single player game as much, I don't think. But yeah, there's that stuff I played. I did play a little bit of the GameCube's or the Game Boy Advance stuff, which works pretty well, as you would expect. So there's that. But yeah, played a decent bit of Mario Kart World. I'm through the 50 cc's on most of the Grand Prix right now. I've done a bit of the open world stuff. The Grand Prix are weird this time around because it's an open world and their whole thing is you drive to the next course in the Grand Prix. It counts the time it takes or the distance to the next race as 2 of the 3 laps for that race. So that's like a very weird thing to do when you're used to just 3 laps each time. And it's like maybe a second lap here would have been nice, but you kind of just get to the course and it's like, all right, 1 lap. And it's like, oh shit. Like I'm playing on 50 cc's, so it's pretty easy to win those. They got a good assortment of power-ups, a lot of stuff that is, things from other games. I believe there's a few new ones, so my history with Mario Kart is I played Super Mario Kart, and then I played Mario Kart 8. I skipped over most everything else.
Yeah, a very large gap there.
Yeah. That is surprising because you completely missed, you missed Mario Kart 64, which was like just a massive improvement on the original Super Mario Kart. You know, all the other ones in between.
Yeah.
Wow.
But again, he ended up on 8, which is like arguably probably one of the best. So,
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But I will say this about Mario Kart World is that from what people have been talking about, the game probably the one game that it reminds me of most of all, and this again is back from the 64 era. It's Diddy Kong Racing, because a big part of Diddy Kong Racing was that on top of the races, there was also all of this exploration and collectible stuff that you were doing at the same time. And apparently that seems to be kind of a big part of what this game is too. At least, especially when you're doing like the off-road stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's very much like baby's first open world racing game.
Yeah.
The way it's all dealt with, because there's no like menu option to go into it. It's literally hidden in the corner of the screen. It's like press the plus button to go to free roam, and from there, it does not have a good map for any of this. The map is like an overworld map, so you can just see like, oh, here's the area you're in. Here, there's like 8 or 10 usually, like question mark bases you drive over, and then I don't think it usually tells you how many P blocks are in there. And so yeah, it does not highlight anything on the map. Just tells you like, here's how many collectibles you've gotten here. Which there's question mark spaces you can drive over. There's the P blocks you drive into. They're all just missions that are timed missions usually. And those don't have any leaderboards or anything, so you can't be like, oh, I'll get the best time here. It's just you finish it, you're done, you move on. And then there's peach coins. I've only found one of those, and that was a weird area because I went to the beach area, and there's this like half pipe. I had to get enough speed to go up it and collect this thing. But yeah, that's really kind of it. Otherwise, you're just driving around, looking at things in the environment. There's lots of like random Mario enemies just hanging out in the off-road areas. You have cars driving around the cities, a lot of which have ramps on them, so you can ramp off of them. You get power-ups and use them, but they're not really for anything. It's just kind of like, you can do this. It's not very well set up for anything really, other than just screwing around with friends, which can be a fun thing to do. But it just depends on the person, what you enjoy out of that. Yeah, I've been mostly playing the Grand Prix stuff, and I've also been doing some of the open world stuff until I get annoyed by something. Like earlier, I was doing this one that was essentially you go to these rings, and there's a vine there, and you hit the vine, and it essentially turns into a big long rail to the next area. And you drive through the next ring, and there's a vine there that grows, and you grind on it, and then it gets to the last end where you do a jump into this ring, and I miss it every time. It's not set up to be easy. I'm supposed to, I guess, hit the boost button or whatever, the drift button to get an extra boost off the ramp, but I just kept missing it. And then I was sitting there being annoyed, and the retry button just disappeared. And I was like, I'm not driving over there to restart this whole thing again. So it's kind of a lot of that going on. But usually I get to a point where I'm like annoyed by something, I move on and quit out and either do another race or just go play something else. So it's a very good game, but it's definitely got some interesting choices. And as is Nintendo's want to do, there's not much in the way of accessibility stuff that wasn't in the last game. So they got like the smart steering and that kind of stuff for kids and people that aren't used to 3D racing games kind of thing, to kind of keep you from driving off the tracks easily and having it auto accelerate for you and all that. But I really wish it had control remapping, because this is a racing game, but it doesn't use the triggers for gas and brake. That's still A and B. And as I was playing this in handheld mode, I realized I was wondering like why the heck am I drifting longer than I was holding the button? It's because my index finger was resting on the side of it, but they extended the R button down a good bit. So where my finger was normally resting on a regular Switch, now is holding down the button at times. So I'm like, oh, I cannot play this game in handheld mode because they don't make the remapping super easy. That kind of stuff. There's a system-wide one. You can kind of save presets, but it doesn't save it to the game. So every time you would have to go back in and load up the preset when you go start that game. So it's not a smart setup for that at all. And speaking of that stuff, in the GameCube app, they do let you remap controls, which Wind Waker needs, because the camera controls are horizontally inverted, which that's a whole thing to deal with. It's not too complicated for that, but I did that, and then they introduced the binoculars, and it's like, oh, this is vertically or inverted. I'm like, God, this is a nightmare. And you can't invert that because that's a specific action. Otherwise, you'd be inverting up and down on the stick, and that's not gonna go well for you for the rest of the game. So yeah, that's Mario Kart World. Good. I'll keep playing it. I've only done the regular Grand Prix. I haven't done the elimination stuff. They have like an elimination tour, and I think one other type. I forget. And plus the battle mode. So there's a decent bit of modes there, and I'm sure they'll add more to this game over time. Yeah, there's they have stickers that I guess are like the achievements in this. That one, they don't tell you ahead of time like what they're for. It's just like every key block mission you complete, you'll get a sticker. Every question mark block, you'll get a sticker, but I don't know what they're for. They're not like account avatars for. Maybe they're multiplayer, but this game doesn't explain like what the hell these things are for. You can pick one for yourself, and there's a lot of good like businesses based on references to Mario stuff, various characters, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's Mario Kart World. It's neat. It's got some weird stuff about it, and it's got some things that I'm like annoyed by, but otherwise, it's a solid game. I'll probably get better at it as I go, but there's that. I also got Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour because I was like, sure, why not? $10. That's at least less than the rest of these games. Like the only other game I got is I got Bravely Default as a physical game because I was like, I should have something physical. There's a slot on here, and it'll stay in there until maybe I buy something else. But not very often. I'll switch it out. And that's a game key card, which it explains up front. Like you're still going to need this to play the game, even though it's downloading. So I don't think it's like I could download it and just throw this thing away. But I haven't started that yet because I ended up putting Link's Awakening in there because I was like, I got to see if this game looks like runs any better than the original version, which ran like shit on a Switch. Now it runs smoothly, so it's like, all right, I can play this game again and not be annoyed the entire time, which is good. But yeah, the Switch 2 Welcome Tour is it's a neat little game. It's kind of a weird thing that explains a lot of the tech in the system. And so like initially you start on the left joypad, or not the Joy-Con, and you can run around and do a couple of quizzes that explain like here's how the mouse stuff works and what that does. Explains the rumble, which is the HD Rumble 2. And the rumble part of that is not capitalized, so that's fun thing to learn about their branding. I think the other one was for the magnetic connection stuff for the Joy-Cons to the Switch 2, which is because they made the ZL and ZR buttons on the Joy-Cons steel, and so there's magnets on the console itself, and so those attach that way. Which is like, okay, this is pretty interesting stuff to learn. Maybe not $10 interesting, but
yeah, it's basically charging you for the manual. So
Yeah, kind of, but it's interactive and they give you quizzes on it too, so you get to be that kind of kid there. But yeah, then they ask you to like go and go around on the Joy-Con and find all the essentially all like the buttons and the features of it. There's little panels that show up as you get to the spot, um, and that's like part of the achievement kind of stuff they have in this. They require you to find all that to open up the next area. So that's like a neat little thing. They have some mini game stuff and some demo stuff they put in here. So like the demo thing for the left Joy-Con is this little demo you can do. It's like, oh, you're shaking the Joy Cons like they're uh, maracas. So, but you can change like the item in there from beans to like a rubber ball. Like the with the Rumble HD Rumble 2, you can kind of feel the difference between those. You get a little extra or different audio for that stuff. It has like goals for that to do. It's like 5 things you usually do, and then it's done. It's like, oh, you can leave or you can keep doing this if you want. And there's the couple of games there which are mouse related, and I would say initially the Joy Cons are bad mice, mainly because they're incredibly thin. So it's like, what if your mouse was less than an inch wide? And it's like that sounds like a bad time.
Yeah.
It is. So people have made like 3D printed like shells to put it in, so it doesn't feel like a super tiny thing. And so the ones they have here are there's one that's basically you move the cursor to avoid these like spiked balls dropping from the top of the screen. You're trying to last a certain amount of time. Usually they give you two goals for those. You're trying to collect, medals to open up more mini games and such that you'll find throughout the different parts of the Switch that it goes to. Um, so far, I've unlocked the main tablet part of the Switch, which they make the screen slippery, so your character slides around a bit when you're trying to go around there. Um, I did a couple of mini games they had there and demo stuff. The demo stuff was interesting. One was about the Switch 2 being able to output at 4K, and so the way they do that is they have you play one of Mario, Super Mario Brothers, but it's shown at the resolution it was back then on a 4K screen. So it's this little tiny square. But as you progress through the level, you essentially have the level mapped out, but it still operates by the same logic, so you can't go back before the screen. But it has a number of goals for that, for completing, completing the level, completing as Fire Mario, um, going through the pipe and coming back out and finishing the level. There's one for getting a one up that I wasn't remembering how to do that, but you essentially by the end have this long streak of the level mapped out, and you kind of see the scale of how that level is compared to a 4K screen, which is fairly small. It's just like one little strip of this screen, and you're playing it at the resolution, so it's pretty small to see. It's just like, oh, I gotta go by my memory of this stage.
Mm.
But it was like a neat little thing. They had one for the HDR that you're just shooting off fireworks, and so it's like asking you to do different things. You can like pause the fireworks and then toggle on and off the HDR to see
Mm.
like what the difference is. Which like, yeah, there's a little bit of a difference. It's not much of a difference, but it's there. I guess the interesting thing is people that know more about this stuff are saying the HDR on the Switch 2 sucks, um, but it sucks on all consoles, so kind of the norm for the way this stuff is. Because I guess the way most of these companies do it is that they essentially add on HDR at the end. They kind of build a game in SDR and then like, oh yeah, we should do this, and then essentially just add it in, and it never looks great for the people that at least are picky about it. So yeah, that's a Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Uh, Neat thing, neat like mini games and such. It's very much that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it should have been included with expansion pack tier of Nintendo Switch Online.
Probably should have just been loaded onto the Switch too, because it
Yeah,
seems like it's a lot of information that would be good for people to actually know.
yeah. But I feel like Nintendo's trying to make money here. As much as
Yeah.
they're selling, Mario Kart World for $80, and most of these upgrades are $10. Um, I played Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and they both ran pretty well. So I was
Mm.
like, all right, that's different than the previous games, previous versions. So that's good. So yeah, that's I played a bunch of Echoes of Wisdom because I'm like, oh yeah, this also runs pretty well. So this is nice. Um, I'm up to a boss in this dungeon, so um, that's kind of I was just like, all right, I can play this pretty smoothly and just enjoyed playing it. Um, but yeah, it seems like the other kind of issue with the Switch 2 is that if you haven't noticed with all these handhelds, is that battery tech hasn't really improved much in the last like 10 years for this stuff. As these these different handhelds get more powerful, the amount of battery they have in them is usually about the same. It's not really been too much of an improvement to make these things work longer. So people have been playing, in handheld mode for Mario Kart World, Cyberpunk, whatever, and having the battery drain in like an hour or two. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of what that happens. My Steam Deck can do that same thing. That's why I don't play the big powerful games on there.
Mm.
I play most of the indie stuff, and they last 3-4 hours, and it's about what I need out of it.
Mm.
So I feel like people are gonna find ways to either play near outlets that they can plug it into, or get some power banks they can plug it in and charge it as they go.
Yeah, Belkin has a really nice charge case for it.
Yeah.
Mm.
It does have the thing that like phones and such have been doing recently. Like, only charge it to 90%, so that it's not fully charging it every time or staying fully charged the entire time, um, which can be nice. But also, then it's like, all right, you played a few games, now you're down to like 70%. You're like, oh shit, going fast. Other weird thing, I was playing the GameCube stuff, and it stops downloads when you're playing that. I don't know if it's all the NSO apps that are doing this, but at least the GameCube, when I was trying to play some Wind Waker, I was like, had something downloading and it wouldn't let it continue. So I found that weird. Other games just did fine. Let me see. One thing you would like, Phil, Defense Grid 2. I was playing that. I was like, this game ran like shit on a Switch.
I didn't even know it existed on Switch.
Yeah. Fun thing, I started it up, continued to try to continue my save from whatever the stage I was in, and it crashed. uh, Tried it again, crashed. And I was like, all right, I'm pretty sure this game isn't that broken. And I essentially started the stage over, and it worked fine from there.
Hmm.
Just continuing to save on a Switch 2 or something just seemed to cause it to crash. But now that has like a PlayStation style, like, you want to submit the crash details to our system, and we'll send it along to the people that need it,
Yeah.
so they can see. I'm sure the devs are going to be like, why the fuck are people playing this game on a Switch too in 2025? But at least that's a better way of getting information on that stuff to devs and such. So that's at
Yeah.
least good. That's my adventure with playing backwards compatible stuff and all that. So it seems to mostly work fine, but I'm sure there are games that don't work fine. I saw a story of some indie dev that was like, got notified by Nintendo like the week of the launch, being like, "Oh yeah, your game doesn't work on a Switch 2, so we're gonna not have it on the Switch 2's eShop." And they had no dev kits or anything, no way to rectify this, to find out what happened, like what's going on, maybe they could fix it. And like, nope, you have to get a dev kit when Nintendo allows you to have one.
Yeah, which is in another 3 months.
Yeah. Nintendo mostly has dev kits out to their big partners and such, and select indies that are good to them, I guess. All the randoms, they're gonna have to deal with it. So then they lose a source of income for a while.
Mhm.
Sucks. But yeah, that's the Switch 2. I think that's pretty much everything I can think of here. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. The other thing I've been playing, Power Wash Simulator. They put out their last batch of free levels. The last batch of demo stuff or DLC stuff entirely. So they're all in on working on Power Wash Simulator 2. This included a subway train in the subway station you do like halfway through the campaign. That's gotten all dirty from party people. The other one's a park, statue park in the park area that has a bunch of statues created by this artist friend of yours, who tells you that that's like, I'm the one that made this mess. It's part of like an art, like a almost like an art thing in itself. Like, I was tired of my creation, so I just covered them in filth. Though I think design wise, it was just a place to put all the different kinds of materials they get things dirty with. There's like eggs on some of them and all this other stuff that was fun to clean off. The other one was too big. It was like maybe an hour or less for each one, so a couple hours to finish it. And otherwise, a lot of fun. In the subway station, there's a bunch of like ads on the inside the subway trains, as well as on the walls of the subway station. There's one that has a date on it that isn't just like a day of the week or something. That said August 8th, that I think is either a release date for the game or for the sequel or something else. We're going to announce something on that date. So hopefully that is the case, because I want to play this game. So that's been pretty much what I've been doing. So Brandon, how about you?
Well, with the launch of the Switch 2 also came with the launch of the actual official launch of Deltarune. Obviously, the first two chapters have been out and about for a while now, as essentially a demo, more or less. But I went ahead and bought it for my PS5, and so it comes with all of the four chapters that are available. And for the record, if you're like someone who played it on like a PC and then decided to get it on a console, and you don't want to have to like go back and redo everything, don't worry about it. The game, if you start like at chapter 3, the game just kind of assumes that you've already recruited all the monsters and stuff up to that point. So, you can go ahead and just go ahead. It's fine. But essentially, by this point in the game, obviously it's awesome. That's all I can really say. The first two, obviously, Deltarune, it's Toby Fox, so obviously it's going to be amazing. The first two chapters were very much kind of an introduction into the whole game, where it's showing like, yeah, here's all the characters you remember from Undertale, but this isn't really Undertale, or not exactly Undertale. Like, it's all these characters, but it's in basically a different universe. And a big thing here is that essentially every so often in this world, they have these things called dark fountains that are caused by this guy called they call him the Knight, basically. And essentially what happens is when these dark fountains are started, the sort of what's called the dark world sort of starts to leak over into whatever reality is, which they call the light world or whatever. And that's essentially where like the worlds in this game come from. The first one takes place in like a playing card world that sort of introduces you to the characters and the overall idea. The ones in chapter 2 that takes place in a computer world. And it's got lots of like, neon and cyberpunkish and video game type stuff. The third chapter takes place in a TV world where it's controlled by this guy named Tenna, who's essentially a sentient television on a pair of legs. And also, unlike all the other characters, he's like actually like 3D, but like PS1 early PC type 3D. So, but it's actually really neat because it's essentially supposed to be like that whole chapter is essentially about nostalgia, more or less. And so through the whole chapter, you're doing things like it's essentially being run like a game show. So there's like all these challenges you have to do. Some of them are based on like there's like quizzes. There's these physical challenges where you have to do stuff like trying to stack up food and then serving it to people at the bottom, including special guests, which gets you more points. There's another one that's sort of like a wild gunman where you have like a bunch of dudes poking their heads out of a train car and you have to shoot them before they shoot you. And there's also a bunch of these segments where he takes you into a room with like an old video game console and you start playing these sequences that very much are sort of like in the realm of like old school Legend of Zelda or Dragon Quest. And that whole thing is really cool. And Chapter 4 is, I can't talk too much about it because there's a lot of spoiler stuff that happens in it, but much of it takes place in a dark world that's like heavily based around like a sort of combination between like a cathedral and a library. And it has probably one of the most epic boss encounters in the whole game up to this point. And that's even counting like the boss encounter at the very end of chapter 2. And yeah, it's just, again, the game is really damn good. And it's like only $25. So for playing that, you basically get like all the chapters after that for free as they come out. But yeah, so there's that. I've been playing that, and I also started playing Blueprints again. And the other day I got really close to getting to the antechamber, which is like what the 46th room is supposed to be. Like really, really close, like 2 rooms away. And then I came across a locked door and I had run out of keys. So, yeah, unfortunately I was not able to get farther than that, so I had to quit and, start another run. But that game still amazes me, just the extreme, just the serious amount of layers that are in it. And, the puzzles increasing in complexity. And honestly, it's just that game Blueprints is definitely going to be a game of the year contender for sure. But yeah, that's basically all I've been playing. I've also been going on chess.com basically daily because I've been trying to improve my chess game. I'll get back to you on that one. But yeah, that's basically what I've been playing.
All right.
So Phil, what about you?
Phil?
So yeah, been still playing Palatro.
Yeah, you're like in the triple digits at this point for hours played.
Yeah, I just checked now, and I have 978.9 hours.
Yeah, you've got you're still on your way to 1,000, but
yeah, I'll probably end up hitting that over the next couple of days. So I'm basically like going through and trying to get a win on every single deck, every single difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
I got about 5 or 6 of them left. So yeah, there's an achievement for that. So that's basically what I've been doing and been trying to get. There's one achievement, the Completionist Plus, which is get a gold sticker on every single Joker. I don't think I'm going to go that crazy. But the last 2 that I have is just finishing gold stake run on every deck and growing my deck to 80 cards. I should be able to get those. So apart from that, well, mods on PC exist, and they are 308. These mods will break that limit and go up to the E50,000s.
Yep.
Thousands. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with those mods and just experimenting on what people have done with it. And some of them are more down to earth, like the regular game is, and with jokers and stuff that would fit pretty nicely in the original game. And some of them just kind of basically have turned the game into Pokemon. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, so Balatro, it still continues to be fun, and I will still continue to play it. And Thunk is at some point this year, apparently actually coming pretty soon from what I've been hearing. We'll have an update that is going to add more content, a whole bunch of fixes, balances, all kinds of stuff coming. So I'm looking forward to that and seeing what he comes up with. So that's Balatro, and well, other than that, I started playing on the Switch. Been enjoying that so far. The last time I played Lunar was, man, I think it was probably on the PS1.
Because you were like one of the handful of people who managed to get a copy of it.
Yeah, I had bought that nice working designs box that they had there. Yeah, it was great. People are complaining about $100 games right now, and well, that's what I spent to get that game. So, it swings and that was like 97 money here. So, but I'm glad I was able to get that collection on the Switch physically. It was like, it wasn't that expensive, about $60, I think, for both games, Canadian. So, been enjoying that. Apart from that, a whole bunch of emulation stuff that I've been playing. I started working on Xbox original emulation and been playing Project Gotham Racing on my PC, which is good because Microsoft apparently doesn't want you to ever play those games again. So
for some reason,
yeah. So I've basically been taking that into my own hands and been enjoying those. The emulation, it's called XEMU. It's a little heavy on the hardware, but you'd expect that given the level of complexity of the original Xbox. So it works pretty well. The developers of the emulator are very responsive. They're basically constantly updating the thing and making it even better and faster. And they're doing their best to try to keep that system preserved. And so far, they're succeeding. There's a few games that I've had issues with, but it's like, whenever I go to post a bug and I look over on their compatibility list, it's like, okay, yeah, we know about that. We're working on it. So it's really nice to see that they're taking that seriously and just keeping it going. And finally, well, I ordered a MIG flash. Don't know what that is? It's a flash cartridge for the Switch.
Yep.
See, I love physical media. I love having my games. I don't like switching them out. So that's what I'm going to do. Basically, got that coming in. I got the card dumper. So I'm going to read all of my cards and plop them all on my MIG flash and just keep that in the Switch so I don't ever have to change them again. And whenever I get a new game, I'll take a read of that, drop it on my flash, and then I can basically just store all the original ones and never have to worry about them getting lost or anything like that. So it's really, really nice and convenient. It's like I'm not going out onto the internet and actually downloading games because I know that's a surefire way of getting your Switch banned. So yeah, I'm not going to do that. Besides which, with the Switch 2 out now, Switch 1 games you're probably going to be able to find very cheaply, very, very soon. So you'll be able to stock up pretty quickly, and that's going to be fun. So yeah, that's kind of been it for me. You want to get into the meat of the show because we've got a lot to get through.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we got a couple bits of news here up front. Things that did not happen during any of these shows. First up, Game Informer. We knew that they were going to be starting subscriptions for the magazine. They had like an early access period for people that had signed up for accounts that got emails. To get it for, I think, $39 a year for the print and digital, $29 for the digital only. Digital only is intended for worldwide people outside of the U.S. Because they're just starting to get into making the magazine again. They said they're gonna see about getting worldwide distribution, but for now it's U.S. only. 10 issues per year, but now they have their regular access, I believe, until June 23rd. They have special prices Now they're a little higher than the early access ones, so it's $48 for a year. For print and digital, 32 for digital only. That gets you 10 issues for the year. I believe every 5 weeks. Yeah, you get the digital magazine with both of them. Special edition Game of the Year 10th issue for the print and digital version. Exclusive web featurettes, pure ads, no programmatic. I think I've said the issues are going to be about 100 pages each, or about 96 that you can read, because obviously the cover is not going to count as readable. See digital archive access with either one. If you just have an account on GameInformer.com, you can access the digital archive for that. And also, they say here 5% of every subscription purchase goes to support St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So they're doing some good work of donating some part of that cost to charity to help people out there. Well, that's good. I believe they just started their podcast back up, and they were talking about this stuff. So they're going to have better materials for the paper. Superior paper and cover stock. I believe they're going to have the plastic wrap for the issue so that they can minimize potential damage to that stuff. Those are things that I assume GameStop didn't want to pay for because whatever they get your money, they don't care if the issues arrive to you in perfect shape for any of that. So, yeah, you can subscribe now, at least until June 23rd for those prices, and support the team. Doing a magazine that is very hard to do independent at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's the podcast has been going. They put out their first episode in return, basically talking about how things were, how fun they were, how much fun they were having as the magazine was getting shut down and kind of in the waiting period.
Yeah.
To potentially come back, what they were doing up to that point, and then they talk about the new magazine they're working on and all that. Sort of what the positive stuff they're doing to improve on things and all that. So, yeah, fun show. So,
yeah,
there you go.
They also, for those who haven't seen, they've also like expanded the magazine archive as well. So, if you want to take a little trip down the memory hole, you got to look at that. It's because they got pretty much every magazine available from their very last one until they were shut down, all the way back to the first issue they released, decades ago. So,
yeah. And with with independent media, having a hard time right now, it's good to see some of it sticking around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go for that one. The other story here is that Black Myth Wukong is finally coming to Xbox.
Okay.
August 20th, which sent off people into all the conspiracies because that's the same dates the PS5 version came out at last year. Which the devs, I've read the devs or somebody actually like looked up the dates and it's like, oh, this is the celebrated birthday for the monkey god in China. That's literally why they picked those dates.
Yep.
Then you go look up and you see like they put out a big update every year on that date since they announced the game. So it's like most likely that, but there's still people who are like, no, it was definitely a deal. It wasn't like they had trouble with the Xbox version and decided to focus on the ones that weren't giving them troubles and came back to this afterwards. Especially once they've sold tons of copies and had the time and money to deal with it. So yeah. There's a 20% off discount. I believe the PlayStation and PC version's also on sale for the first time. So if you want to buy it, you can do that then, or do that right now for the next week or so. So yeah, you can check it out.
Okay.
Yeah. But let's get to
play.
Yeah.
Here we go.
4 events here: the PlayStation State of Play, the Summer Game Fest event, Day of the Devs, and the Xbox Showcase. I got links for most everything that I could.
Yeah.
I feel like the PlayStation State of Play kind of kicked everything off very strongly,
Mm-hmm.
especially because the first trailer is the most Tetsuya Mizuguchi ass trailer I've seen in a long time.
Yep.
Because it's very much pretty obvious up front that it was from Enhance, and
Mm-hmm.
it ended up being Lumines Arise, essentially them doing for Luminous what they did for Tetris.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be out this fall at some point. Demo will be out later this summer, but PlayStation 5, PSVR 2, and PC versions. So
Oh yeah.
that'll be great to see. And it was nice seeing the actual footage of the game because it looks like the blocks are all kind of reactive in a fun way. It's like the first ones you saw were these like little orbs and such, and they're all bouncing around as you land them and all that. So there's a lot of extra detail to this that is really nice to see.
Yeah.
And of course, it's going to get a lot of extra style with all these skins and such they have for this. So
Mm-hmm.
that'll be fun to see. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
kind of looking forward to that one.
Oh yeah.
Can I, before I like move on, there's something I noticed about the PlayStation State of Play. Very few of the games actually shown were PS5 exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's just kind of the nature of third-party development for a lot of these.
I just think that's how things are going, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like 90% of the things I saw were PS5, Xbox, and PC. And it's like, yeah. Also, I think Nintendo's going to have a direct at some point. That's when they'll let people say, like, hey, we're also working on this thing for Switch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like the thing Nintendo likes to do.
Yeah.
Even for things that's, there may not be a ton of dev kits, but like Capcom and some of these other companies specifically have them.
Yeah.
There's no reason they wouldn't hold these back for anything except if they were required to, because they're going to get featured on a direct. So there's that. And second game here, Pragmata showed up again. We got to see more of that, some actual gameplay, which I didn't realize it was going to be a shooter, but also a shooter where the girl, I assume is an android, she's hanging out on your back like Yoda did with Luke on Dagobah. I was not expecting that. So they got like her hair's flying around a bit and all that, and looks neat. They followed up their jokey like previous trailer, like it still exists, but it's gonna take us longer to be like, oh, it's coming out next year, and yes, this is gonna be real. Or not just like, it's later kind of thing. So that'll be fun.
I'm glad they're self-aware.
Yeah. So there's that. Then we got the most Suda 51 ass trailer with Romeo as a dead man. That I feel like had a really good art style at the start of it because it was like a 3D anime kind of thing, but with the like kind of scratchy lines on the characters in a fun way. There's also a very Rick and Morty kind of intro.
Yeah.
As it's like the Morty kind of goes to answer the door and the Rick runs out and is like, oh no, you're gonna die in 15 seconds, but I got this thing that'll keep you alive, so just here, and I shoves it right into his eye, and it causes his whole body to like explode as he turns into dead man, this essentially robotic assassin form of himself. And makes for a really fun trailer. It's his brand of extremely violent action, sword action game, but also has some gun stuff in it. It also just gets very weird. So, as you would expect, I believe that is out next year as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm glad to see Suda 51 is mellowed in his old age.
Oh yeah.
By mellowed, I mean not in the slightest.
Oh yeah, when they showed him on screen, he does his wrestling move, as he is a big wrestling fan, and does all his fun stuff there. So yeah, he knows what he's doing. Then we get into the new Silent Hill game, Silent Hill F. We get to see this, the one set in Japan. That is going to be out September 25th. Looks really nice, and also a big no for me. Those enemies are like, no, we're not doing these like mannequin-esque enemies that bend in all the wrong ways.
Yeah. That's like half of all the enemies you fight in Silent Hill, period.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
It's
those are
just-
also a now.
Yeah, but Konami had success with that Silent Hill 2 remake, so it seems like they're some part of Konami is actually trying to make games again. So there's that.
Yeah, they're hiring seemingly talented developers to make it.
Yeah.
Revitalize those IPs.
Yeah, yeah. So you got a new dev on this. Neobards, particularly with the scriptwriter Ryukishi 07, who's made a bunch of well-known visual novels and such in this.
He's the guy by Higurashi. He's the guy behind Higurashi When They Cry. Yeah, he's like the Godfather, one of the Godfathers of like modern horror visual novels, basically.
Yeah.
And did it very successfully, might I add.
Yeah. So yeah, you got that. You can check out in September, right before October. Then we got the new Bloodstained game showed up, and very much a Bloodstained thing.
Yep.
With the subtitle, "The Scarlet Engagement." Sounds like
Yep.
a euphemism for something.
Yeah.
So there's
I'll be
that.
buying that.
Yeah, that'll be PS5, Xbox, and PC, and I assume Switch too, but they're not
Can't say
announcing
that
any of
yet.
that yet.
Yeah.
That'll be out next year. Yeah, his new buddy system. Seems like a bigger world to explore. All the same kind of crafting and cooking and all that shit. So it'll allow you to turn it into a very nonsense game like the first one.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it got pretty nuts after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We enjoyed it.
Let's see. We got Digimon Story, Time Stranger. That seems to be a neat looking game where the partly set in the past, partly set in the future, where the Digimon have broke out into the real world and destroying things. It seems like so. There's fun stuff going on there. That's out October 3rd. Let's see. Then we got one of the Final Fantasy games announced. Final Fantasy Tactics: The Evil East Chronicles.
Yeah.
This is
that's
on
another
everything.
one I have to buy.
Yeah, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. This one's also Switch 2 confirmed, so there's that. One of the few Switch 2s mentioned in any of these shows. So yeah, they're essentially breaking this up into essentially two versions of the game you can play. One is the original game with the script from the PSP remaster. So they kind of get the original look. The way they kind of showed it to kind of make it hard to see if it's got that stupid smoothing shit on it, as well as because the other one definitely does that. They've got improved mechanics and stories, new story stuff written for it, and all that. So that's got that, but I believe also has the visual filter on it.
Yeah.
It's just like this just looks like you just ran butter all over this.
Yeah.
I assume you'll be able to turn it on for both. It's not like this is what this version looks like and this is what the other one looks like. So
Yeah.
I assume that's the case. But yeah, they got a bunch of voice acting for it, including Ben Stars playing a character in here. As well as the guy who's Cloud Strife in the remake series.
Yep.
He's in here as well as Aerith. So okay, they brought in all the people they're already paying to do other stuff, and they're like, "Well, just do some more." But these aren't those same characters, so yeah. Yeah, that's out September 30th. So a few months away, and people will be able to stop talking about this rumored game. So
yeah,
there you go.
Another one that was from the NVIDIA leaks. It turned out to be correct.
Yeah. At least eventually, because they've done all the other Final Fantasies, so they had to start getting to Tactics. I'm sure we'll get Tactics Advance at some point.
Probably.
And Advance 2 and all that, so they'll work their way around.
Yeah. Or do an original one, which wouldn't be a bad idea either.
Yeah, they just did that, so they got some time. Kill. They need new consoles to do another Final Fantasy. Let's see. So there's that. Then we got Baby Steps, a game that's been in the works for quite a while. Finally has a launch date, September 8th. I'm excited for that. It looks very dumb in the way that Bennett Foddy's games are very dumb.
Oh yeah.
This is the game you're playing as a fail son who ends up getting teleported into another world, where he has to kind of walk around and do things for himself. Though I believe mostly what you're doing is walking, in a very weird physicsy style to it, and it seems like I got some pretty good writing in there as well. Him needing to go to the restroom, and this guy trying to help him, but everything he was suggesting was very creepy and weird. In a way that was pretty fun. So yeah, there's that. Key features here are fun, fully simulated physics-based walking, world that seems to come alive with a dynamic soundtrack built up out of 420 beats and vibes. A lengthy trek up a mountain-sized mountain that you can explore at your own pace or slower. Fully dynamic 1Z soilage system. And non-collectible hats.
Nice.
There you go. Let's see. Next up here, we got Hirogami, another Bandai Namco game, because they don't stop making games. That is out September 3rd for, I guess $30. They already announced the price and all that. PS5 and PC. Right now, this is kind of a 3D platformer kind of game. Almost felt a little bit like, what was the Medium Molecule game? Kind of looked a lot like that. So it's like a papercraft kind of style to it.
Little Big Planet?
Obviously.
No.
Yeah.
They're one they did for the Vita. I forget what that one.
Oh, the one where you play is like an envelope?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crap. Because I played one of those like a couple months ago, and now I completely
Tearaway.
Yeah, Tearaway. That's the one.
That's the kind of style that this has, but obviously, as the name suggests, it's based on origami. For its style, so looks really nice. Has a nice style to it. I believe there's a demo out now on Steam, so I'll probably have to check that out and see how that looks. There's Steam Next Fest starting tomorrow, so every demo that's about to exist will show up at once. And you'll be able. You'll have trouble finding the right demos out of thousands that get released. So there's that. Then we got another Bandai Namco game that they're making for Sony. Everybody's Golf Hot Shots. They said, "Fuck names. We're just putting them both in here." This is coming to PS5, Switch, and PC on September 5th. And if you pre-order, you get Pac-Man. Because why not? Yeah, you can tell this isn't Clap Hans making it because it looks just different enough.
This is also on Switch, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, there'll be Switch, PS5, and PC. Looks nice. I might check this out. But we'll see. So there you go. Yeah. Let's see. Next up, we got more Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. They showed that off. Announced a date of July 31st. I guess that'll have a demo here for Steam Next Fest, so that's fun. You'll be able to check that out.
I'm going to have to clear some hard drive space to get all these demos.
Yeah. So yeah, let me see. Yeah, this looks really nice. Really nice style to it and all that. There's that. Then we got Cairn, the new game from the Game Bakers, who make a bunch of weird little games, and they're jumping on this weird trend of late of climbing games that indie devs have been making. They're the newest one. And I believe their hook is that there's no animation to the legs. I think it's all procedural, so the legs all just look weird when you're climbing because they're bending in unnatural ways. And it's like, all right, fuck animating this shit. So that's out November 5th for PlayStation 5 and PC. Demo's out now on PC and PS5, so you can check that out and see for yourself that I'm not lying about the legs. So yeah, that'll be fun. I downloaded that demo, so I'll check it out. Next up here, we got the newest collection from Digital Eclipse, and it's one that has been a long time coming. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. Yeah. They're finally doing this because there's one thing they've tried, like kind of Mortal Kombat collections a couple of times. There was that collection on the 360 and PS3 that was okay. I believe that one had some issues, but now you're going to get this collection here that's going to include, I believe, 1 through 4 and the version of Trilogy.
Mhm.
So and then they're going to include a bunch of other versions of those games. So
Yep.
Console versions, and
Arcade
there's still got
versions.
a few surprises left to announce for that.
Oh
that
yeah.
game.
I would not be surprised if some of the spin-offs show up in here.
yeah, they have. Oh, I didn't know. I don't think they mentioned this in the trailer, but there's Mortal Kombat Advance for the
Yep.
Game Boy Advance. There's Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance.
Yeah.
That's the Game Boy Advance version.
Yeah, all
Uh-huh.
three of
Then
them.
Tournament Edition for the Game Boy Advance.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's
Um
that. Mortal Kombat 4 for the arcade.
which is
Ultimate Mortal
kind of a
Kombat.
it's kind of a big deal apparently, because no one's really been able to successfully emulate the arcade version of Mortal Kombat 4
Yeah.
until now. So the fact that they managed to apparently pull that off is, for the fighting game community, kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's Ultimate
Well, there was a
Mortal
PC port, but no, they're not including that one.
No.
I
At
think
least not
MAME
yet.
had some success doing it, but yeah, maybe they've advanced a little bit since then because yeah, it was a little bit rough at times. But I haven't checked in on MAME for a while, so it might be good now. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Let's see. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 is the arcade and Super Nintendo versions of those.
Mhm.
Mortal Kombat 3 is arcade, Super Nintendo, and Genesis. Mortal Kombat 2 is arcade, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Game Boy, and 32X.
Mm.
Game Boy versions are going to be fun because you're like, what if Mortal Kombat was only playable by one player? And you could barely see anything that's going on because it's not much real estate for anything.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the original is arcade, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Game Boy, and Game Gear.
Mhm.
So you can see all of that.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm
They
sure they'll probably
mentioned,
go whole hog later and get like
Oh yeah.
the Master System versions in there. And
Mhm.
knowing Digital Eclipse lately, they've had a few very interesting one-off stuff going in there. So maybe
Yeah.
that unreleased prototype of Mortal Kombat Nitro Edition for the SNES gets in there.
Yeah.
Um,
Hell, we might even get like some of the more sort of more obscure spin-offs, like Mortal Kombat Special Forces or Mythology, Sub-Zero. Let's see, there was Mortal Kombat Conquest. I think that's what it was called. That was the side-scrolling beat 'em up featuring Liu Kang and Kung Lao.
Shaolin Monks, but that's
Shaolin Monks. Yeah,
it's a great game.
it was actually pretty good. But yeah, there's like a bunch of stuff they could go through, and of course, on top of all that, they're giving the interactive documentary stuff too.
Yeah,
and I gotta say, seeing Ed Boon and John Tobias together again like that is kind of surreal.
yeah, because for the longest time they weren't speaking.
Yeah,
I imagine they probably buried that at this point.
Yeah, I mean that was a lot of that stuff was like over 20 years ago.
And Ed Boon can be like, "Yeah, I'm the one that was right," because
yeah. For some of you,
of games since then.
Yeah, for those of you who are on the younger side, don't really understand what we're talking about. John Tobias is the guy who John Tobias was the art director and illustrator for Mortal Kombat for many, many years. And he actually originally he started out as a comic book artist. In fact, if you ever got any of the promo comics for Mortal Kombat 1 or 2, he's the guy who drew them. And what happened is he kind of felt like he was getting sort of sidelined in the company by Ed. And so they decided to give him his own project. That project ended up being Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero. And, well, it didn't go well. So he decided to say, screw it, I'm going to go make my own company with blackjack and hookers. And he did. And that didn't work out very well either.
Yeah, made Tao Fang Fist of the Lotus, which was very much in the vein of Mortal Kombat, but absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
And then they did some WWE games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's one he was working on another game as well. but maybe
I
that
think
was
I'm pretty
somebody else.
sure that his company was doing like a football game at some point too.
Maybe.
Um,
So yeah, that'll be fun. Because yeah, they mentioned Ed Boon, John Tobias, John Vogel. Is he the toasty guy?
no, that's Dan. That's
Dan Forden.
Dan
Okay, yeah.
Forden. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's mentioned here as well. So they have all that, all the concept art, marketing materials, all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
It'll be
including
fun.
some.
Online play with rollback netcode and all that. So that'll be
Yeah,
fun for people.
yeah. So you can get a look at all of John Tobias's artwork in his late '80s, early '90s ass art style.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also mentioned here you'll be able to unlock all the secret characters, change game settings, and access the buried developer menus. And maybe
Mhm.
tweak those games to the way you want.
Yep.
So yeah, that'll be fun to see.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's one of those. Well, it's a digital Eclipse collection, so I just basically buy those on principle at this point.
Yeah.
And that'll be out later this year. No date for it yet, so
Hmm.
that'll get announced at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they followed up. Sony announced that Project Defiant, their new wireless fight stick
Mhm.
for PS5 and PC, it'll be out next year. And yes, you'll be
Probably
able
in
to
time
plug it
for
in.
Evo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It'll be using, let's see, it has a PlayStation Link USB adapter for its direct connection versus using Bluetooth, which is good. And yeah, that's it looks pretty good. They were like, why are they making a fighting stick? What the hell's going on with that? That's
Yeah.
weird.
Sony owns Evo. That's why.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, but also we'll get to it later. But yeah, then we got a trailer for Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater, which seemed to be like, yep, it's Metal Gear Solid 3, including
This looks
that
better.
they included the Ape Escape Snake versus Monkey mission. That was in the PS2 version, which he has fun animations for every time he captures one of them.
Mm.
And then they teased right at the end some Metal Gear Online stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like they're going to have that in there as well, which is good, but also I hope it's as broken as the original was, because that's the way that it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
If they just fix the bugs, then you've ruined the spirit of that game.
Mhm.
But yeah, there you go. That looks neat. That's out August 28th. Let's see, Neo 3. We got to see that again. Team
Yep.
Ninja's still continuing to work on more games.
Yeah.
And this time going back to Neo 3, and the big thing seems to be here that not only are you working in the sort of samurai form, but you also have a ninja style as well that you can work in. That gives you more like agile moves and jumps and all that to do.
Mhm.
It seems like fun, and very much them probably playing Elden Ring, like, shit, we got to have more jumping and shit do this. So they're gonna have that. So that'll be fun. That's out next year, I believe.
Mhm.
Early next year. Demo's out now. It's like a online technical test, so you can play that for about another week or so. I believe, yeah, June 18th. So you got some time to play that and check it out. Yeah, now they have online multiplayer. You can assist and seek help from other players throughout the summon visitor mode, or even explore the open field with others through the online multiplayer mode expeditions. So yeah, that's some more multiplayer stuff in this, people. Then let's see, we got some more VR stuff with Thief VR. I figured this out pretty quickly, especially when the character you're playing as shoots a water arrow at a fire. It's a thief ass thing. It's like, no, I'm not gonna shoot these people and kill them. I'm gonna shoot out the fire.
Mhm.
So yeah, Thief VR, Legacy of Shadow coming to PlayStation VR 2, Steam VR, and Quest 2 and 3 sometime later this year. So that could be pretty neat.
Somebody hasn't forgotten that PSVR exists.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Somebody can make a good Thief game now,
Mhm.
because that didn't happen last time.
Nope.
Let's see. Then we got a new game here, Tides of Tomorrow.
Mhm.
That's an interesting looking game, and I think the first of the 2026 games here to get a date. A lot of these just have 2026 on them. This one's February 24th, 2026. Yeah, PS5, Xbox, PC. It's a first-person adventure game with multiplayer system in it, and it seems like a pretty interesting thing where you're kind of able to follow the trails of what other players have done before you and kind of see what they did and maybe learn from them if they failed or get tricked by them and fail as well. So it's kind of neat the way they have it look. It seems like a very kind of Waterworld-esque kind of area. At least a lot of what they showed here. So that could be neat. Let's see. Then we got Astrobot Return. They said they've got new stages, new challenge stages coming July 10th. 5 new areas. One of them that gets you the girl from Ghost of Yotei. So that'll be fun. The other ones are keeping a secret for now. Yeah, so they'll be July 10th, and they'll be, I think, releasing a new one every week after that. So more of that.
Good reason to keep going back to Astrobot.
Yeah.
Not that you really should need a reason. That game is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see.
And if you just want to, it's awesome. And if you just want to relax or whatever, it's just a damn good game to play.
Yeah. Let's see. Then we got Sea of Remnants, which seems to be a free-to-play, let's say, Sea of Thieves style game.
Yep.
Though maybe not so much because I don't think you're inhabiting roles on the ship. It seems like more the ship's kind of a vehicle to attack stuff. They have a lot of ridiculous enemies and such. Seems like Kraken and all that, but you can also go out on land to do some fighting as well.
Yep.
Not sure if it was turn-based or not. Yeah, turn-based battles. So you got that. Somebody said, "What if we do Genshin Impact but for pirates?"
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that could work. It's NetEase, so they're one of the ones that can do that. So yeah, that's free to play. It'll be out on PS5, PC, Steam, iOS, Android sometime next year. So that could be good. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Then we got Sword of the Sea, new game from Abzu's, the devs that did Abzu and the Pathless Giant Squid. That'll be out August 19th. They showed a lot more of this off. I think it was also featured on Day of the Devs. If you want to see more of a deep dive into it, basically said, what if we make a game that looks like what we've been making, but it controls like an extreme sports game, like it's a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or SSX kind of thing. And they said, sure, we'll do that, and it looks pretty fun. And it's going to be on PS Plus game catalog on day one for people who have extra premium, so you don't have to spend any extra money on that. So that's a game that looks pretty good. It'll be out August 19th, so about 2 months away. So that'll be exciting. Yeah, I feel like that sliding bit and Journey, they're making a big whole game out of that.
Yep.
It's like that was a really good part of that game. Let's see. Yeah, then we got a bunch of more PlayStation Plus stuff getting announced. They added they're going to add Deus Ex: The Conspiracy for the PS2, PS Plus Premium on June 17th, which is a weird PS2 port of Deus Ex that seems like it's better than you might expect, but maybe not as good as the original game, which is like, yeah, it's a PS2. Considering the way PC ports were to like the consoles at that point, it's a miracle that game's all right. So there you go. That'll be June 17th. To celebrate the new season of Twisted Metal on Peacock, they got Twisted Metal 3 and 4, games that you hope are worse than the new season coming up. So that'll be July 15th. Let's see. And then for sometime later this summer, I assume August based on the way they're dating these things, but later this summer, Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, the original PS1 versions, will also be added. So now the weird gap of having Resident Evil 1 on there, like when they started all this, and finally getting 2 and 3 like 2 years later. So that'll be fun for people that want those games. So yeah, and then they just added Mist and Ribbon as part of the Days of Play stuff they announced. So you can check those out. The weird thing, Mist is like 1 gig, as you would expect for like a PS1 version of that game. Ribbon's like 10 gigs.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the fuck is the difference between these two to be that big of a difference?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
I was like, it
sure.
must just be more video or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Riven was 5 CDs, so even still, that's still a big gap of size. It shouldn't be that big.
Yeah,
Unless they like upscaled the videos, like to try to make them look better, because which is probably what they did do, because those original PS1 videos would probably look pretty crap.
How about your 240p FMV?
Yeah.
On your nice 4K screen. So there you go. So yeah, that's the classic stuff they announced there. Then we got to see the first footage of 007 First Flight, which looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Also very much like, what if we made Bond look like a cross between Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill? That seems like what they got there.
Yeah, but I can't say it's a bad look for him. It works.
Yeah.
No, it definitely works. Like,
yeah. This is young James Bond, sort of fresh out of the British Navy.
Yeah.
Naval Air Crewman. To join the newly revived 00 program. But there's a rogue agent going on and all that, so yeah. That kind of stuff going on, but looks really nice. And looking forward to more of that. They said they're going to have gameplay later this summer to show off. I was hoping that would mean the IOI showcase they had on Friday nights. But no, they just mostly talked about other stuff there, and we got at least one of those announcements shows up here in Summer Game Fest. Then we got Ghost of Yotei. They showed a little bit and then said we're going to have a state of play in July to show off, or to go deep on the gameplay and show you what's new there. So that'll be next month, and the game will be out October 2nd. So there you go.
Yeah, so that was not far off.
Yeah. And then they announced the big announcement for this showcase that Sony partnered with Arc System Works to work on a new Marvel fighting game.
Yep.
Called Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls for PS5 and PC. That is a 4v4 tag fighting game. They said, what if we go to 4 people? And they seemed to... So they showed the trailer of that thing, and that looks really nice. And then they did a little rewind to kind of go back into sort of how the game came about with the different party members here with PlayStation Studios, Arc System Works, and Marvel Games kind of working together on this. And the way the tag system works seems pretty interesting. You could basically play it as a solo fighter with 3 assists, or you can decide to bring them in as full parts of your team to play as. I assume you break up your health meter at that point with that for that. So yeah, that's like a neat twist on the way that stuff works. And yeah, it seems like Marvel and Capcom never got a deal for new Marvel versus Capcom. So Sony and Arc System Works swooped in and said, what if we do something and make a Marvel game that's Japanese as hell?
It's like, yeah, why don't we make Marvel versus Capcom 2, but even more batshit crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm loving the fact that Marvel right now, for these developers, is kind of stepping back and kind of letting like the character designers sort of give their own spin on a lot of these characters. They did the same for Marvel Rivals, and it really worked for that game. So they're doing it for this one, and it looks great. And like all the characters are immediately recognizable. So
yeah,
well, I think they probably learned their lesson with MVC Infinite.
Yeah, and very much I like that. The guy from Marvel is very much like, we don't want you to do like our versions of these characters. We want you to do your versions of these characters. And so like Iron Man has mech elements to it. Captain America also looks a good bit different in the way he looks, and you get Star-Lord with like the shock of blonde hair there.
Mm-hmm.
a very kind of anime way and all that, and it looks real nice for all these characters. But yeah, they got your expected like Captain America, Iron Man, Spider Man, Doctor Doom. You got Storm, Miss Marvel, Star Lord, and Ghost Rider
Mm-hmm.
right now, and I
Yeah.
assume it'll be out next year. They'll just keep announcing new characters every so often. Probably announce another batch at Evo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a really interesting game.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Marvel guys said, like Arc System Works couldn't make a boring game even if they tried.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're gonna use a lot of what they learned from Dragon Ball Fighters for making a licensed game and kind of make that even better here. So yeah, that looks neat.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Sony's got a big game coming out next year for this. So
Mm-hmm.
there you go.
For sure. And next we got Summer Games Fest, which I'm just gonna come out and say it right now. Jeff Keighley's buried E3 at this point. It's just it's done.
Yeah. There was this weird aspect of this show that Jeff Keighley was like obsessively talking about the size of these teams
Mm-hmm.
in a way that's I think is more comes off as disingenuous, even though I don't think he's necessarily uh, playing it out that way.
Mm-hmm.
But he like said that the team that made Claire Obscure is 30 people, which is not true.
No, it's the. I mean, the essential team is a little over 30 people, but they did like at the same time.
Some
Yeah,
stuff,
they outsourced a bunch of stuff at the same time.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
400 people total.
Yeah, which is
there's
still like smaller than a lot of like AAA studios, but
yeah, but it's not the little indie game that people have been weirdly trying to position it as, and it's like no,
Mhm.
it's a fairly expensive game for what it is.
But he's basically throwing shade at that article. I think it was on Game Industry or Game Developer
Mhm.
.com or something like that. I read it the other day about them complaining about deprofessionalization of the industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what he's. That's why he was continually bringing that stuff up.
Yeah, there's one where he's like, "Oh, it's a solo dev with 9 other people helping him," and it's like
That's
that's
not
10
well.
people.
That's
10 people.
That is 10 people, but if it's one person programming, that is a solo. You do have to specify this stuff though.
Yeah, but it's also like, and it starts to get into the like, oh, certain jobs are not technically developers, and it's like, no, that's not the way we should be treating any of this as well.
Yeah,
It's like they're all developers. It's the play on, it's the difference between like core team and the outsource stuff, but also a lot of people come in and help out in different ways and all that. So, but what we think of solo devs is like usually not the case for most of these. But yeah, we'll work our way through this. There's not really a ton here to really talk about in great detail. They start off with an incredibly metal trailer with Mortal Shell 2. That's out next year, PS5, Xbox, and PC. So that'll be more Souls-like. I feel like that was the unofficial theme of this showcase is like who's
Oh,
making a
yeah.
Souls-like, and especially the dark fantasy style.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's like most of the games here.
Yeah. Then we got a new game from a new studio called Chronicle Medieval.
Mhm.
aka we couldn't figure out an original name, so we just used 2 of these. And
Yeah.
it seemed to be better than what else, but that's a sort of medieval RTS kind of game for the PC early next year.
Yeah, it's Total War, but more.
Yeah. So there's that. Then they had Sonic Racing Crossworlds. They finally started announcing non-Sonic characters for this game.
Yeah, take my
So
money.
we got Joker from Persona 5. We got Ichiban Kasuga from Yakuza, Hatsune Miku, of course, and Minecraft is also in there.
Yep.
So that's the ones they've announced so far. And boy, they got a lot of editions here. They got physical and digital standard editions for $60.
Mhm.
If you pre-order, you get Sonic Unleashed Sonic, the Werehog character, and vehicle and decal. It's like, boy,
Mhm.
everybody needs that version. The digital deluxe edition also gets you Sonic Prime playable characters. Knuckles the Dread, Rusty Rose, and Tails 9. Let's see. Yeah, you also get the Sonic Unleashed Werehog. And There's a physical collector's edition by Limited Run Games for $250 on the consoles, $200 on PC. Because I guess you're getting a code instead of a physical game.
Yeah.
For that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. That looks like that could be neat.
I'll be buying it.
Yeah.
It's September 25th. The dev also took some shade at Mario Kart. Like, this one's going to actually have cross-platform play. And it's like, yeah, because Mario Kart's on one platform.
On one platform.
But, okay, sure, talk your shit. Because Transformed was a really good game.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then we got Code Vein 2. Another Souls-like.
Yeah. From a franchise I did not think was ever actually going to come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played the original a couple years ago. It was a very solid Souls-like.
Yeah, anime Souls-like. So.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's like, I was like, is this character a Tails character, or is it just, it's the Bandai Namco house style
look? Yeah,
characters?
It's definitely the Bandai Namco look at this point.
I mean, they own a good chunk of anime, so that's why they do that. So there you go. Then we got a new game from Section 9 Interactive. It's part of the Epic Publishing system. End of Abyss, which looks really neat. It's like almost looks like a kind of dual stick shooter kind of thing, but I don't know exactly how it plays. But yeah, it's a dark sci-fi game. Lots of creepy enemies you're shooting, and some of them seem to split apart when you shoot them, so that's not good.
Yes.
That's out next year, PS5, Xbox, PC. Let's see. Mouse PI for Hire. They announced Troy Baker's doing voice work for the main character. So you got that. Otherwise, that looks pretty good. It's out later this year still. They haven't announced a date yet. But we'll see more of that at some point. Let's see. Then there's a Game of Thrones RTS called War for Westeros.
Yep.
Where I guess the big thing is you can do things differently than it goes in the show and the book, I guess.
I hope so.
So it's like, all right, sure. That's out next year.
Let's do that.
That's the thing you do. You could kill the dragons instead of letting them live, and Jon Snow can get killed.
Yep.
And all that. So there you go. Then Mundfish decided they had to announce a bunch of stuff, so they announced Atomic Heart 2.
Yep.
I guess it's going to be more of an action RPG.
Yeah, they seem to be going more towards the more to the action RPG-ish sort of route. The first Atomic Heart, it got an okay reception. I played it and I liked it all right, but there were also parts of it that were annoying as all hell. Among the fact that the guy you're playing never shuts the hell up. But they're still sort of going in the direction of like, yeah, we're going to take all that and now we're going to put it out into space, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. We're thinking they call this Atomic Heart 2, and then it was called a spiritual successor, and I'm like, that's not what those two things mean.
Yeah.
But okay.
It's like you're literally making a sequel.
Yeah, you can't call it 2 and be like, it's a spiritual successor. It also featured Queen in the trailer, so it's like, all right.
Sure, why not?
Somebody splashed out some money for that one.
Yeah. So there's that. And then they announced The Cube. Part of the Atomic Universe, they're calling it. Which seems to be sort of a shooter MMO thing. Set on this cube that constantly is rotating, so your environments are changing every so often as the pieces fit together. So,
if you get motion sick, do not play this game.
Yeah,
it certainly looks weird, but there's that. That's I don't think it even has a time frame. It's sometime later.
Yeah.
Then we got to see Marvel Cosmic Invasion. They are adding She-Hulk and Rocket Raccoon to it. So sure.
Another one for the side-scrolling beat 'em up collection.
Yeah. Onimusha Way of the Sword got shown off again. No dates still, so whatever. Then we got to see this weird ass game that I hope it looks like this. It's called Felt That Boxing.
Yep.
Basically, what if you had a Muppets turn into Little Mac?
Yeah. And it's I saw this and my immediate reaction was, this looks unbelievably stupid. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very much a comedic boxing game where you're kind of this puppet that they label as an unadoptable orphan
hmm
who becomes a prize fighter and like is getting his training, and the guy just talks shit to him, calls him a pussy and all that.
Constantly.
Yeah.
And eventually, like, he animates up and turns into a decent fighter and goes out and starts fighting, I guess, to save an orphanage of other
Yeah.
puppets. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that. So, yeah. Looks weird, and I hope it turns out. It'll just be PC at the moment, no dates or anything.
hmm
So there you go. Then we got a Square Enix game called Killer Inn that seems to be one of those social deduction kind of games.
Yeah.
They described it a multiplayer murder mystery, as I guess people are sectioned up into wolves or lambs, and the lambs want to get rid of the wolves, and the wolves want to get rid of the lambs. And as you kill people, you kind of figure out who you get clues, I guess, towards figuring out the murder mystery.
Yeah.
Could be neat. They're doing a play test in the near future, so you can check out on their Steam page. Let's see. Then we got Arc Raiders. Got a date of October 30th. So that's an extraction shooter that seems like it's got some juice right now. So maybe that'll turn out well. It's PS5, Xbox, and PC. So there you go for that. Let's see. Dune Awakening is out next week, so that's whatever.
Yeah, that's like, could I
already
have a
doing-
Dune game that isn't a multiplayer game, please?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Well, this one's selling incredibly well, so no.
Mm.
Let's see. Then we got Chrono Odyssey.
hmm
Another game that looked like Souls-like. I don't know if it actually is or not, but it looks like everything about that. But you also have time manipulation combat.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a closed beta test from June 20th to the 22nd. So you can sign up for that to potentially get in. Yeah, they're calling this a new era of MMORPG, which is like, I don't know what that means. So yeah, we'll see. Let's see, Mio, Memories, and Orbo. They got a new trailer for that. The PC demo's out now. So you can check that out. Then we got a nice little indie game called Out of Words, which seems like a co-op sort of platformer adventure thing. Where weirdly enough, it is made in, I believe, claymation. They've done all that stop motion stuff for the characters.
Yeah.
But these kids kind of arrive in this world, and then their mouths don't exist anymore. So they can't talk to each other, but everybody else can. So it sucks for them.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of cooperative platforming stuff from what I've seen. I assume this is going to be, the Haze Light style of forced co-op. But maybe it's not. I don't know. But it has all that look of it. So there's that. That's a next year game.
Yeah.
Then they showed off Mafia: The Old Country again. That's out August 8th. That's a $50 game, so they're going cheaper on that for some reason.
Yeah.
So there's that. Then we got a new Lego game, a sequel to Lego Builder's Journey called Lego Voyagers. Cooperative adventure game coming to everything. PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. Later this year. No date on that yet, but looks pretty nice. Then we got a new Nicktoons game, Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny. Seems like it's going to be an action RPG set in the Nicktoons universe. So the first character is SpongeBob, as you expect.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. At first, I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm not sure about this." And as I was watching that trailer, I'm like, "You know what? I actually want to play this."
Yeah. So yeah, that looks like it's it's inspired by like D&D and all that.
Yeah.
I'm curious if it's going to be Diablo-like. I don't know. We'll see.
Hmm.
But yeah, they're gonna probably announce new characters over time. So we'll see what the whole crew is. But it's also published by Game Mail, so it could go poorly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, yeah, it very much could go horribly wrong.
You'd like to think that Nickelodeon could get better people making it, but maybe not.
Mm.
Let's see. Then we got the expansion for Lies of P Overture that is out now.
Yeah.
You can check that out if you want more of that. Let's see. Then we got a game that Jeff called likened to Silent Hill meets what Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yeah.
Yeah. A game called Fractured Blooms.
And looking at this, I'm like, yep, this is right up my alley.
Yeah, where it's like a girl like doing some cozy stuff. Then you also see like the list of like things to do, and one of them's run. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you see her
Oh,
cutting up tomatoes. You're like, these don't look like tomatoes anymore. I think it's
yeah,
something
and they
else
sure
going
do
on.
seem to be bleeding a lot.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh no, no, we're good.
It's like, yeah, that's definitely not one for me.
Yeah, so that's out. No date yet. Okay, just PC at the moment. So there you go. One of those things is that's the thing that's gonna get more popular lately. There's like Me Side is one that got big on Steam. Kind of similar style of like, this looks like a nice little game, and then it goes weird. And so there's that. Let's see, we got Blade and Soul Heroes that's coming to the West. This is a free-to-play collectible action MMO RPG. So very much in your Genshin style of thing.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, Steam
I'll
and
pass on that
mobile and
one.
all that. So that's one you can check out. Let's see. Then we got the Seven Deadly Sins Origin, based on the anime.
Yep.
There, from Netmarble, free to play open world action RPG. So they're like, what if we take this and turn it into Genshin Impact?
Yep.
That
There's
seems
a
to be
lot of
what
that
they're
going
doing.
on.
Yeah, like Genshin Impact literally makes billions of dollars a year, and so anybody with any sort of anime chops is like, what if we do that? And that's what they're doing here. So this is PS5 and PC, sometime later this year. So there you go on that. Then we got Jurassic World Evolution 3.
Yep.
Coming out October 21st. I'll mention on the Steam page, they have mentioned that they use generative AI for the scientist avatars. Because you couldn't hire an artist just for that. So there you go. Otherwise, everything else looks neat. You got baby dinosaurs, so that's fun. But it's using generative AI, so that's a thing that sours that.
Yeah.
Then we got Mina the Hollower.
Yeah.
Showing off. That's out October 31st.
Freaking finally.
Steam demo's out now, so that's good.
Yeah.
I downloaded it. I haven't checked it out yet, so.
Yep, got it downloaded too. I still have not gotten to it yet, but I'm going to it. God, the Yacht Club's been teasing this game for ever now, and it's finally coming out. God, and it looks amazing too.
Yeah, I backed it, so I'll be getting my code then. Excited for that. Then we got Deadpool VR. That was the first mention of Silk Song on any of these things.
Yep.
Because Wade mentions him, like, tells Jeff, like, don't mention Silk Song or push the trailer. Ironically, the way it did get mentioned, we'll talk about later, but that's weird. This is a Meta VR game. So it's a Meta exclusive made by Twisted Pixel, which I didn't realize had been bought by Meta. That's sad. Instead of Ryan Reynolds doing the voice, it's Neil Patrick Harris. So
when it works,
there you go. That's later this year. Yeah. Ryan Reynolds put out a video of him talking shit about Neil Patrick Harris, but then has like part of the trailer in it, so you know he's in on the joke. It's like, you backstabbing motherfuckers stealing my job, kind of thing. So there you go. Let's see, Dying Light the Beast has a date, August 22nd. So you can check that out. That's the was supposed to be an expansion for Dying Light 2, but they just decided to make it its own thing.
Yeah.
So you can check that one out. More of that. Then we got Mixtape. Showed off more of that. Yeah, no date on it. Coming to Xbox, PS5, and PC. That looks neat. Then we got a new game here, Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree, another Bandai Namco game. Because they will not stop.
This one I'll have to pick up.
Yeah, PS5, Xbox, Switch, and PC. September 19th. Roguelike game with a whole crew of nice looking people, especially like a big monk dude that is a little dog, or not a little dog, big dog. But he's a monk. Nice looking characters here and all that. So yeah, that looks fun. Then we got a game called Acts of Blood, ACTS. I think that everything I saw, people were like Acts of Blood or Acts of Blood. It seems to be, let's see, PC summer of 2026. It's a beat 'em up action game based on, I think, Indonesian action movies. So, set in a dystopian city of Bandung, Indonesia. So, that's got a lot of that shit going on.
Right. Yeah, this was one of the ones that kind of caught my eye. I'm like, yeah, playing that one.
Yep. Let's see. Next up, Scott Pilgrim EX for PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. This is a new Scott Pilgrim River City Ransom game.
Yeah.
From Tribute Games. So that seems really nice. That'll be out early next year. So that's looking good. All the people from the original comic and the game and stuff. Anna Managuchi's here. Brian Lee O'Malley's back.
Yep.
Working on this, and the other people that it collaborated with, so that's fun. I think it's taken a lot of inspiration from the recent show, because he goes into other dimensions and such. So there you go. Then we got Scum had a trailer to announce they're going 1.0 on June 17th. So there you go for that. Hitman showed up, announcing that they have they talked about 007 First Light, but also talked about how Hitman is going to have a new elusive target featuring Le Chiffre from Casino Royale, and had Mads Mikkelsen on to talk about it. He's reprising that role for that, and they showed that off, a good chunk of that in the IOI showcase, and that looks really neat. Set in the Paris map, and they change up the upper areas, so you find an invite to the big game of poker, like in Casino Royale. That it's Agent 47 versus Le Chiffre, and so you're trying to play poker and decide how you're going to do it. So plays out potentially in different ways. I recommend going and watching that if you want to see it. But yeah, looks neat. So yeah, there's that. Then Lego announced another game, Lego Party.
Yep.
I said, what if we make a Mario Party but in Lego shit?
Sure, why not?
I see nothing objectionable about this.
Yeah, so it's out later this year. So that could be fun. Let's see. Wild Gates got announced. This is out July 22nd. They have an open beta here during the Steam Next Fest. June 9th to the 16th, so you can check that out. It's kind of like a heist, crew heist kind of game thing from what I saw. So that looks neat. And let's see. Oh yeah, Drinkbox Studios announced their new game called Blighted. Called like a Metroid action RPG kind of game.
Yeah, so I really like the look of this one. So
yeah, looks really nice. The story's weird. Basically, it says here, in the past, the dead were buried with seeds planted in their brains. These seeds would grow into trees surrounding the player's village. Fruit from these trees was special. It contained the memories of the dead. And so you would eat the fruit from your family's tree, and you would learn knowledge and traditions and such through that. But then this bad guy named Sorcisto defiled the ritual, just started eating the brains raw. So he gained vast power and knowledge, and inflicts the world with this new deadly plague called Blight.
Yep.
So, normal things.
Yeah. Seems legit.
Yeah. So this is Drinkbox's first 3D game. It's top down, but all the characters and such are in 3D, so that's a neat evolution for them.
Oh yeah.
Then we got a disgusting game called Ill
Mm-hmm.
that featured a bunch of like nude zombie-ish like creatures that you can deform pretty well with your guns. Yeah, they had one guy get shot in the back of the head, and you just see that chunk of the head just disappear.
Yeah.
It's gone.
It's like
A bunch of weird, creepy enemies. So, yeah, it's one of those. This is published by Mundfish Powerhouse, their publishing label they set up. So yeah, there you go. That's one you can check out. That's out, I think next year.
Yeah.
Maybe next year. PS5, Xbox, PC. So there you go. Then we got a date for Mecha Break finally. That's out July 11th.
Yeah.
The mech, free to play mech multiplayer game. So there's that. Infinitesimals is a neat looking game. It's kind of rounded, but more shootery.
Yeah.
Sci-fi shooter kind of game. So there's that. That's out next year.
I like the look of this one, so we'll probably end up trying this one out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Then we got Street Fighter 6 Season 3, which was announced in a very interesting way with Kenny Omega seeming to have hallucinations in the locker room and imagining himself as the 4 characters that are the Season 3 characters. As you do.
Yeah.
You got him cosplaying as Alex, Ingrid, Crimson Viper, and Sagat. Which was just a fun trailer. So
yeah. Obviously, I'm excited to see some Street Fighter 4 characters making their return. Obviously, I'm honestly surprised that Capcom even remembers that Ingrid exists.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, they got to fill out that roster, and I mean, they just released the Year 1 and 2 edition for $60, and I'll probably end up getting that because I kind of missed the first time. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I got the deluxe edition, but now I have to buy Season 2, and I'd have to do it on PC because I don't really play on the Xbox. So I'd basically be buying the game again. So,
let's see. There's Last Flag. It's sort of a multiplayer CTF game. Trying to bring that back for next year. Oh god, this studio! I didn't know this studio is founded by Imagine Dragons manager and lead singer.
Yep.
No thanks.
All right. It looks a lot more interesting than that, but yeah, that's weird. So there you go. Then we got Wuchang Fallen Feathers has a date July 24th. This is PS5, Xbox, PC, and it'll also be on Game Pass. So you can check that one out. I think it'll have a demo. I think that's what this just said here during Steam Next Fest.
Yeah.
No, just a trailer. Okay. All right, so yeah, that'll be out next month. Let's see. Then they followed up Wuchang with Wu-Tang. With Wu-Tang Rise of the Deceiver. The Deceiver. Hopefully it goes better than the last time they tried to make a Wu-Tang game. This seems like it's better. It's a co-op action RPG. Basically, the way they said is it's presented by Ghostface Killa to rescue his Wu brothers.
Yep.
So you're gonna get all of them back together.
Gonna get the RZA, a Jizza, Spec the Deck.
Yeah.
All dirty. Wu-Tang is for the children.
Yeah.
This was one of the ones I was like, wait, this is actually happening. I haven't taken acid. Okay.
No. It says here Wu-Tang Rise of the Deceiver was initially conceived as a tie-in to Angel of Dust, an upcoming supernatural thriller produced by Ghostface Killa, to be directed by the RZA under AOD Films.
Which is weirdly how the last Wu-Tang game kind of ended up, because remember that game was originally Thrill Kill.
Yeah. Well, at least this was intended to be a Wu-Tang game.
Well, yeah, that, I guess.
So yeah, that looks neat. No date on it yet, just PC at the moment.
Yeah.
Then we got another Genshin Impact, Mongil Star Drive for
Mhm.
PC that has a closed beta test coming up here on June 20th.
Yep. Well, thanks.
So there's that. Yeah, let's see. Then we got a neat looking game called Unwell that is partly making fun of, uh, I think somebody that's like an alcoholic kind of relapsing on that. Um, so yeah, this is interesting. Or maybe it's called Into the Unwell. Okay, might be Into the Unwell. Yeah, what they call a whack and slash co-op roguelite action game.
Yeah.
It's coming soon to early access on Steam. They're taking closed beta signups on the Steam page, so you can check that out a bit early. But it has like a very classic style of animation.
Oh yeah.
To it, cartoon
And,
animation, all that. So that looks neat.
yeah, and it looks weird as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that looks neat. Then we got Splitgate 2, one of the biggest parts of this show, because the dipshit co-founder of the studio decided to go out in a MAGA hat that said "Make FPS great again,"
Mm-hmm.
And talk shit about Call of Duty and said he wished Titanfall 3 could be made and all this. And it's like, sure, but also the hat just undermines anything he might have to
Basically,
say.
yeah.
Yeah.
Announced a battle royale mode, which a lot of the fans on the Reddit did not seem to want.
Mm-hmm.
This is a game that's doing fine on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. It's been kind of in this weird early access mode that you don't have to pay for. It's kind of like an open beta of sorts. I think the official launch is, or might be now. I don't know. They're charging. They've had battle passes, so it's essentially out. But yeah, then he went on Twitter to be like, "I'm not apologizing for anything." And it's like, all right, good. You're just dipshit. I think he might be a libertarian because people. So he tweets on the games page, so that's one smart move.
Oh yeah.
So people looked into the past in like 2022. He was basically begging for attention from Elon Musk.
He's one of those guys.
Yeah, so he might be a libertarian dipshit. So
Yeah.
there you go. He's basically acted like he did not do anything wrong. It's like, sure, you've caused a lot of people to delete the game, so great job.
Okay, nice.
So yeah, there you go. That's basically one of the most notable things that happened. And let's see, we got Project Sentry from Ryuga Gotoku, got official name, Stranger Than Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like one of their games. It's set in the 1940s, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. No platforms or data or anything still. They're just teasing out things, but I imagine it'll probably out in the next year or two.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it'll probably be all the platforms you'd expect. So.
Yeah. Let's see. And then Capcom finally announced the thing people were expecting, Resident Evil 9 or Requiem, as they call it here, because they have the REQ as RE9. So there you go. I believe this is supposed to be an open world game of sorts. Let's see. It's out February 22nd or 27th, 2026. So the second 2026 game we have a date for now. PS5, Xbox, and PC. They'll have a playable demo at Gamescom in August. So.
Yep.
There you go. Features the daughter of a character from Resident Evil Outbreak.
Yep.
That's where we're at.
People have actually played that game.
Yeah. So yeah, that's looking neat. We'll have more on that later, but yeah, this is more of that, and it looks like they're going to be taking it to the open streets of whatever's left of Raccoon City.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah, because folks who don't remember canonically what ended up happening to Raccoon City at the end of 2 and 3.
Yeah.
They straight up launched like a low yield tactical weapon on it.
Yeah, kind of nuked the city.
Turned it into a smoking crater.
Yeah, which I'm sure worked out great.
We'll find out in February how well that worked out.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. That's the Summer Game Fest. Some nice stuff here, but the whole of it's kind of felt spread out in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a few really nice things, but a lot of it's just like, yeah, sure. Which is probably as good as you can expect for this kind of show.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. Then we followed up with Day of the Devs with a bunch of indie stuff here. There's some really nice stuff. There's Snap and Grab, which is from No Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
Makers have some cool games. This is a heist puzzle adventure game. Essentially, you are, you're the world's most famous fashion photographer, but you start using that to help case the joints for heists and such. So it's a really neat looking game for that. So that one's neat. There's Big Walk, which is the new game from House, makers of Untitled Goose Game. That is basically a big. I got the wrong thing here. It is like the recent trend of games of like spooky games where you're playing with friends and all that. But it has voice chat that is proximity based. They have a lot of that here, but it's kind of you're exploring this pretty nice looking island that has a bunch of like puzzles and buildings around that you can work on things there, or you can just hang out and do whatever. But there's proximity chats, but also they have various challenges set in like deafening walls, so you can't directly talk to people. So you have to kind of gesture, or potentially get like signs and such to communicate with people. Looks really neat. Worth checking this out. So yeah, it's kind of one of those games to fuck around with people and have fun. So that's neat looking.
Looks like one of those games that you would see streamers playing with a bunch of friends.
Yeah. So there's that. That's out next year. Let's see. There's Escape Academy 2, Back to School.
Yeah.
So fun name. They're doing a new one of these, and the big thing they talked about is one of the big requests from fans was we get to see the campus here in the map and in part in the background, but we want to explore it as well. And so they've kind of essentially made the campus fully explorable here between the different buildings and such where you're going to your classes, and so that's kind of the big thing here. So there's side stuff throughout, and maybe the campus is kind of one big escape room kind of thing. So yeah, that looks neat. I think that might be out next year as well. So that looks fun. Then we got Dosa Divas, One Last Meal. This is from the devs of Thirsty Suitors.
Yeah, and it shows.
Yeah, it's part turn-based RPG, part cooking game.
Again.
Yeah,
it shows.
Basically, you have like a big mech suit that you use to go around and cook stuff and all that. That looks really fun. So yeah, that'll be out early next year. Yeah, that looks neat. Then we got Possessors, is the new game from Heart Machine. I believe that's supposed to have a demo out now on Steam. This is what they're calling a side-scrolling action game. Yeah, inspired by platform fighters. So yeah, it's a neat-looking game. So yeah, there's like a demon attack that attacks the city. So dealing with all that. And some of these I don't have links for, but there's Please Watch the Artwork. This is from the dev of Please Touch the Artwork 1 and 2. This time he's made it into kind of a spot the difference kind of game, but a little bit of spooky stuff to it because it's animated artwork that you're kind of going around and looking at, and you notice things changing on them, and so you have to kind of highlight that and report it. It's like, oh, that's a bunch of weird shit going on, but yeah, it's supposed to be out later this year. Then they showed some Neverway, the sort of what if you had a horror Stardew Valley kind of thing.
Yeah.
That looks neat. Then there's Retooled, which is a neat looking game. It's an African futurist heist game, basically set in the future where I think a big treaty has been created, promising the repatriation of African artifacts from museums that are shown publicly. Of course, what they do is they start only showing them privately, so they don't have to do that. And so your crew of people from different parts of Africa are going to steal that shit back and put them where they were supposed to be, back in their homelands. And yeah, they say that a lot of this art is based on real things that are located in real museums outside of Africa, instead of back in their homelands. But yeah, that looks neat. Then we got Ratatan, the studio or the game from much of the studio that worked on Patapon, working on their own thing. This is coming to early access July 25th on PC. They have a demo out now. The neat things they've done with this is one, it's the edges of the screen don't blink when with the beat. They have like a meter on the bottom of the screen that shows that. For how you're doing your orders and such. But also it's roguelike. So even if you fail, you get some. You likely, if you beat enemies, you'll get currency that you can spend back in the base to buy upgrades and such, equipment and that kind of stuff. So that works out pretty well. So yeah, and it has multiplayer support. You can play with up to 4 people for that. So yeah, that looks neat.
Yep.
Let's see. Then we got Thick as Thieves, which is the new game from War Inspector. It's their new thing. That looks neat. They're doing playtests for that in the near future. They're taking signups for that. There's Pocket Boss. Sure. Seems like they are. Let's see. There's Pocket Boss, which is a neat looking game. It's basically a game about working for your boss, who's like texting you jobs he needs you to do about manipulating the data for spreadsheets or charts or such, and so you're doing that, and it seems like a game about enjoyable interactions with charts and such.
Yep.
You're gonna see this chart with all the weird marks on it, and you just like arrange them in a more pleasing way, and it's like, all right, here you go. So, essentially, the whole thing is you're manipulating all this data for your boss to make it look like your company's doing better than you are, but who cares? You're enjoying it, so.
Yeah. It's definitely one I'll be taking a look at. It was just, I don't know, it's quirky, and I'm like, yeah, I'm into this.
There's Consume Me, a sort of autobiographical coming-of-age story about the creator Jenny Xia's relationship with food. She said it started life as a collection of prototypes, which drew from her past experiences with dieting and disordered eating. So you're taking control of her in her final year of high school, essentially using like every waking moment to decide the things she's going to do that might make her a better person or a worse person or whatever. The way things collide together and the stats and all that. So, yeah, that looks really neat. That won awards at the IGFs this year, so got some chops to it. Yeah, that's out September 25th on PC, so that looks neat. Then there's Off, which is an interesting like Undertale style game that the developer Mortis Ghost had been worked on for like 15 years. Kind of put it out in rough form, kind of continually added to it, but at a certain point it kind of became like a cult favorite kind of game as a freeware kind of thing. Yeah, built in RPG Maker 2003. Yeah, released in 2008 for PC. Now we come into Switch and PC in a more fully formed August 15th. Yeah, there'll be a physical edition in Fangamer's store. They're gonna have a demo out now on Steam. Basically, you play as a baseball batter. You're just like beating up enemies that way, but also doing a bunch of weird shit and all that, as you would expect from like an Undertale kind of meta game kind of thing. So yeah, it looks neat. Then let's see, last couple here. We got Tire Boy. This is a neat looking game. Let me see. It is from a studio called Game Team 6. They probably couldn't figure out a better name. But essentially, you're a boy that's stuck in a big tire, like you would roll down a hill in. But he has a big stick that he fights enemies with, and just uses the tire to roll around and run over enemies or get around the environment. That kind of stuff. So yeah, it kind of has a really nice look to it. No dates or anything, but just for PC at the moment. So that one looks neat. And then they also announced that they're doing a Tome 2, the little photography game from a few years ago. They're finally doing a new one. Has some more 3D environment type stuff going on to it that looks really neat, but it's more of that, and that looks really good. So that's Day of the Devs. Fun stuff there. Yeah, then we'll go to the Xbox showcase. Let's say a showcase of
very Xbox things.
Yeah, Xbox games. Like a lot of these ran together the way they looked. There's starting to be like an Xbox house style to it with a lot of these games. But yeah, we'll go through here. This was their first showcase, kind of showing that other platforms exist. So they let studios or show the like PlayStation 5 or Switch on their platforms, which was interesting. But it also, like last year for this kind of showcase, everybody has the same style of like splash page at the end of their trailers.
Yeah.
So to the point my eyes glazed over and I missed details constantly and had to rewind back to it. So yeah, they opened with Outer Worlds 2, which is coming October 29th, and basically they're doing more of what worked for the original game. More characters, more and better combat stuff, more story stuff, all that kind of stuff. Which is neat. Apparently this is going to be an $80 game. It's going to be the first Xbox $80 game.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah, I believe up in your neck of the woods, that's $99.99.
Yep.
So yeah,
I didn't buy Doom in the Dark Ages because it was $70 US.
Yeah. This will be on Game Pass, so you can still check it out that way. But yeah, they're doing a lot of that stuff. That was their like direct that they had after this. They showed off more of that with Ben Schwartz being the host as the head of sequels. They're doing a goofy thing there. That was pretty fun. Then we got High on Life 2. They're doing more of that. Yeah, PS5, Xbox, PC, Game Pass, winter later this year. So sure. Maybe it'll be better.
Yeah.
Because the original was fine enough. Mainly hung its head on the ridiculous, Rick and Morty style of writing. So we'll see if that continues to be a big thing here. So yeah, there's that. Then we got Residence, A Plague Tale Legacy.
Yeah.
Which is a prequel to the first game. I think set 15 years before. Yeah, you play as Sophia, a fierce young plunderer on the run and determined to uncover secrets of her past. So yeah, there's combat and a lot of stealth stuff, I believe, as well. So that looks like that could be neat. PS5, Xbox, PC, 2026 next year. Also be on Game Pass. Then they showed the new, I guess technically Xbox handheld. And the way they keep talking about this, like it's the power of Xbox, and it's like, no, this is a PC handheld. Like you're not getting your Xbox games playable on this if they aren't cross-buy, essentially. Unless you do the emulation stuff, but I don't want to think what these prices are going to be. What they've shown of these things. People are expecting at least $800 for the base one.
Probably.
So yeah.
Although I will say, like, I looked in the Xbox app on Windows, and I'm starting to see my Xbox library in there, which is weird. I can't do anything with them yet, but they're there.
Yeah, just letting you know you can't play. Let's see. Yeah, there's the Ally and the Ally X. I believe it's an AMD Ryzen Z2A processor for the base one, and the AI Z2 Extreme processor for the bigger one.
Yeah.
16 gigs of RAM in the smaller one, 24 in the bigger one. Half a terabyte in the smaller one, 1 terabyte in the bigger one. 7-inch screens for both, 120 frame refresh rates. Let's see, FreeSync Premium, all that shit. You get 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type C with the DisplayPort 2.1, Power Delivery 3.0. On the big one, it's a USB 4 Type C and one 3.2. There's a micro SD card reader on the bigger one.
Basically, they want you to buy the bigger one.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, the same Wi-Fi. The bigger one's a little bit heavier, has a better battery, 80 watt hours instead of 60. So yeah, seems neat, but very expensive from what it seems like it'll work with. The other PC storefronts, Steam, Epic Games Store, and Ubisoft and BattleNet, which I'm like, I don't know how well many of the BattleNet games will work on this thing because it doesn't have a touchpad or anything. So you're gonna have to stick to like the more recent stuff.
Yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, to work with your Windows PC games, what they're calling Xbox PC now. Because I was all over each of these games. Instead of PC, it's Xbox PC, not Windows PC. Xbox, because that's the game part.
Yeah. And I'll reserve judgment until I actually have a closer look at it, because it might be fine.
Yeah. The ROG Ally, the regular one that they've had before, seems like pretty solid.
Yeah, it's just the biggest problem with the ROG Ally is Windows.
Yeah. Windows wasn't made to be used for this kind of device.
Yeah, it looks like this is sort of an attempt to remedy that. So
yeah, they've got what they're saying is a better Xbox experience for handheld, which I hope so.
Yeah.
Windows 11 is not a great gaming OS. And so they're trying to make that better from what they're saying here. But yeah, we'll have to see when that actually comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's neat. But yeah, the amount of money that this will cost and all that is gonna be a lot. If you're complaining about the Switch 2, boy, it could be twice that price.
Yep.
So there you go. Yeah, then we got another Bandai Namco game, The Blood of Dawnwalker, which is kind of the story of Blade.
Yep.
Where the vampires are trying to subjugate the humans, and you're more of an experimentation rather than hybrid child, but they try to turn you into a vampire, and you become, I assume you're the titular Dawnwalker. Much like the Blade was the Daywalker. And you're going to fight him and all that. So that looks like that could be fun.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool.
PS5, Xbox, and PC, no Game Pass for this. And there's a Super Meat Boy 3D, which looked pretty good from what they showed here. I don't think this is on Game Pass. I don't remember seeing it, but they don't mention it here, so I don't know. The weird thing is when they announced the Game Pass stuff, it's not on that splash screen of platforms like every other trailer. It's a little thing that happens where they're like a little splash thing of like, oh, play anywhere, and then it's like, oh, play it day one on Game Pass. And by that point, I tuned out. Like 5 seconds later, it's like, all right, whatever. Yeah, we got Ninja Gaiden 4. That's out October 21st. That'll be on Game Pass. So yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Then we got the main expansion for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, The Order of Giants. That'll be out September 4th. On everything, so PS5 doesn't have to wait. Let's see. Then we got the new Game Freak game that we've been waiting on. Finally got announced fully. It's Beast of Reincarnation.
Yep.
And shocker, it's a Souls-like.
Yeah.
Very
I
much
think we've
that
seen
kind
a
of
few of those this week.
yeah. They're making their own version of that, featuring like blighted creatures that are going around and doing bad stuff. So yeah, you have a canine companion that, like Pokemon, your bond strengthens with it, and it gets strange powers. So
Yep.
Okay, then.
there you go.
Sure. Why not?
Yep. So there you go. That's coming to PS5, Xbox, and PC and Game Pass. So there you go. Then we got Clockwork Revolution, a fairly long trailer, like showing off a lot of what's going on here.
Yep.
And then they had no date.
No.
And it still seems to be Xbox exclusive, so it's one of the rare Xbox games that's not coming to PlayStation.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. So they very much put in the end. It'll be out in due time. All right.
Yeah.
Why did we need this trailer? Other than to explain what it is.
Yeah, and to remind people that it still exists.
Yeah. There's also a bunch of other stuff they have in limbo that didn't show up here, so they're still in that vein. But we did get a Grounded 2. It's coming out in game preview on July 29th. Be on Game Pass and Xbox and PC.
I guess Grounded did well enough because well, they wouldn't have greenlit a sequel if the first one didn't do well enough for them.
Yeah. Though the big thing is that they're bringing in another studio on this. Obsidian isn't the only people making this. Trying to see if I could find the name of them because I remembered seeing it, but I forget which one it is. I think it's Eidos Montreal. Yeah, Eidos Montreal is the one working on this. So there you go. They're working on that.
Yep.
Essentially the same kids and people involved in this. They just got tricked again a few years later. So there you go. Then we got Bloober Team's Chronos: The New Dawn will be out this fall on PS5, Xbox, and PC. So yeah, that still looks good. Then they announced a new expansion for The Elder Scrolls Online Season of the Worm Cult that lets you have pets and do other stuff. So there you go. That's out June 18th, pretty soon.
That's going.
Yep. Don't Nod's new game Aphelion is coming out next year for PS5, Xbox, and PC. It's a cinematic sci-fi third-person action-adventure game. It'll also be on Game Pass and is made in partnership with the European Space Agency. So there you go.
Sure.
Sure why, but okay. It's Don't Nod, so I'll give them a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, you're exploring, let's see, an uncharted planet in 2060. Or no, by 2060, the Earth will be uninhabitable, so they're trying to find the 9th planet, Persephone, at the edge of the solar system. So the European Space Agency is dispatching the Hope 01 scientific mission, consisting of 2 of their accomplished astronauts, Ariane and Thomas, which I believe Ariane supposedly dies. I would be surprised if somehow she survived.
Yeah.
But there you go. Then we got a neat-looking game called There Are No Ghosts at the Grand, which seems to be like a building maintenance kind of game of sorts. But then there's like weird shit going on in the background, in the foreground at times. Yeah, Xbox and PC. I believe that'll be on Game Pass. Yeah, sometime next year. So we'll see. That one looked neat. You got a talking cat, so
yeah,
there you go. There's DLC for Age of Mythology Retold, Heavenly Spear that's out later this year. Then we got Mudang Two Hearts, a Korean game coming out for PS5, Xbox, and PC. Third-person action-adventure game that looked pretty neat. Yeah, this is set in a unified Korea. But mass terrorists are attacking in Seoul, so I guess they got a K-pop star named Gavi at the center of this crisis. So, as you would expect, K-pop
Mhm.
is part of the problem.
Yep.
Then we got a sequel to Planet of Lana, Planet of Lana 2, Children of the Leaf.
Yep.
It's coming to everything as well as Game Pass sometime next year. So
Mhm.
more of that. That first one was pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Fallout 76 gone fishing. They
Mhm.
added fishing to Fallout 76.
Yep.
The thing that annoys me is they list PS5 as a platform for this game, and it's not on PS5.
Mhm.
It's the PS4 version you can play on PS5
Mhm.
that they updated to unlock the frame rate for PS5. But that's not a PS5 version. I was spending an annoying amount of time trying to Google if I missed an announcement of this getting a PS5 version.
Mhm.
And it was all people being like, is this ever coming to PS5?
Yeah.
And so I learned no. Microsoft is just being weird and lying about it.
Mhm.
And the weird thing is the splash screen they had on the showcase is different from the one in the standalone trailer for it. That one said PS5 and PS4, but on the showcase it was just PS5. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. Why there'd be two different listings for this? Did they not want to say PS4 on the Xbox showcase? Why did that matter?
Unless this is the PS5 update.
I don't think so, because they don't mention anything about it in their announcement. So
yeah, but it is Microsoft. They can't really communicate anything effectively.
yeah,
Yeah.
but the best way to update that game is you delete it and download it again, because you can't on Xbox or on PlayStation. It's like 100 and some gig update, and nobody's going to have that much space. So yeah, there's that. Then we got another anime game, Solo Leveling: Arise Overdrive. This is coming to, I think, just Xbox and PC next year, or PC version will launch via Microsoft Store this fall, followed by Xbox in 2026. I believe this is a version of the free-to-play mobile game, Solo Leveling Arise. But nobody knows if it's a paid version or still going to be free-to-play or something. I don't know. It's an anime game. It's whatever.
No thanks.
We got Animo for Xbox, PC, and mobile.
Yep.
Again, this is kind of a Genshin Impact like, but you are collecting creatures like Pokemon. So that's neat. Yeah, I'm trying to see free to play open world creature catching action RPG for Xbox, PC, and mobile next year. They're taking signups for a closed beta test for this summer. They want their own Genshin Impact that's not on PlayStation. They're hoping this one is. Then we got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4, where Tony Hawk introduced himself as Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
That's nice of him. Just so everybody knows.
Yeah, he's let's see, this is out July 11th. The pre-order demo is out now, so if you paid for it already, you can play the demo.
Yeah. Don't buy a physical version of this because it's a code in a box.
Yeah. It'll also be on Game Pass. So yeah, there's that. Then we got the new game from Thunder Lotus, particularly the Spiritfarer team in Thunder Lotus, called At Fate's End. For PS5, Xbox, and PC for next year. It'll also be on Game Pass. Yeah, they're kind of making a spiritual successor to Spiritfarer, which is neat. That was a fun game. So there's that. Then Gears of War Reloaded. They show off more of that. That's out August 26th, I think it is.
This is the Gears of War remaster of the.
Yeah, the remaster they already did. The 10-year anniversary of their last remaster, they do a new one. Let's see, they're doing multiplayer beta test weekends for Xbox and PC. Because you have to either pre-order the game. I guess that's how PS5 players can get in on this. Or have an active Game Pass Ultimate or PC Game Pass membership, or own a digital copy of Gears of War Ultimate Edition, the last remaster.
Yeah.
They're doing beta test weekends next weekend, the 13th to the 15th, just Father's Day weekend, and June 20th to the 22nd. So
at least they are updating people who already own the last remasters.
at least if
Hate
you
on them
bought
too
it
much.
bought it before the announcement.
Yeah.
Everybody afterwards, you're a sucker. You bought an old game.
Mhm.
You bought an old remaster that they're gonna make a new one.
Yep.
Let's see. Then after all the hoopla about a Persona 4 remake, they announced Persona 4 Revival and barely show anything.
Yeah. I mean,
You
it's
see, like,
apparently still early in development, but
yeah.
you got some environments and you got some running animation.
Yeah.
And so there's that.
So,
Yeah, no dates, but it'll be on Game Pass. It'll also be on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and PC.
Mm-hmm.
I assume also Switch too, but they're not announcing that. At least we got an Atlas announcement out of an Xbox showcase that said it's coming to other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not being paid to not talk about other platforms.
Yep.
So there's that. Let's see. And there was an Invincible game that turned into a
Mhm.
fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
A 3v3 tag fighting game. So now there's a 3v3 tag fighting game
Uh-huh.
based on a comic.
Mm-hmm.
So you go against the 4v4 one.
Yep.
It's coming to PS5, Xbox, PC next year. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Then Square said, "Hey, what if we put some Final Fantasy games on Xbox?" They're putting out 7 Remake on Xbox and PC this winter. Then putting out 16 right now on Xbox and PC. So you can check those out.
Except those are already out on PC, so.
Yeah.
Well, Xbox PC.
Oh, okay. Oh, specifically Xbox PC.
Yes.
Yeah, not
That's
like
the only
regular
PC.
Lamo PC.
Yeah, that's the only PC the Xbox cares about. So there's that. Let's see. Then Double Fine's new game finally got announced. A game called Keeper, where you are a anthropomorphic lighthouse, I guess, wandering around doing stuff.
That definitely seems like a Double Fine thing.
Yeah. So yeah, Xbox and PC on October 17th, so not too far away.
Mm-hmm.
Also be on Game Pass. This is from Lee Petty,
Mm-hmm.
creator Stacking, Headlander,
Yep.
Rad, and Psychonauts. So
Mm-hmm.
doing some cool stuff here.
Yep.
Then they ended on the one more thing after Phil talked about some things and said, like, we're going to have a new Forza next year,
Mm-hmm.
which people assume are Forza Horizon 6, but also, like, sure. It's only been 5 years since they released one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like, why not call it Forza Horizon?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they don't want to confuse the people buying Forza Horizon 5 on PlayStation. Like, what? You're putting out another one?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they had one more thing, and it's featured this trailer with Milo Ventimiglia, which was like awesome. I
Mm-hmm.
like this guy. He's in a video game now. That's cool. And it's Call of Duty Black Ops 6. And it's like, fuck.
6 or 7? I really
7. Sorry.
No.
It's 6-2, 7. Because they just released 6, and they're like, we're going to do another one. We have no ideas yet.
Because Black Ops is the only one that keeps selling consistently.
Yeah.
We just made that one so we can just keep making more of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, now you get to be Milo Ventimiglia shooting dudes.
Yep.
2035. Following the events of whatever the hell happened there. So
Yeah.
you get to deal with that. So, yeah, I'm sure it's going to have more stuff going on. They'll talk about more of it here over the summer. It's out this fall. PS5, Xbox, PC. So there's your
Mm-hmm.
Xbox showcase of games that are mostly coming to everything, but then the ones that aren't, you're like, why isn't the new Double Fine game on PlayStation then?
Mm-hmm.
The last one was when they got acquired, so it's like, okay, that probably was, you could say maybe it was late enough, but also, that's not as much of an excuse anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly they've been working on that for 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's out pretty soon, so yeah, it's a showcase of like, here's some interesting stuff, but it's not anything huge and groundbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would maybe want to be coming out of this. Like
Yeah.
Outer Worlds 2 is more of Outer Worlds. Like Clockwork Revolution could be cool, but it also doesn't have a date. So
Yeah.
who knows when that is? That could still be a couple more years off.
Mm-hmm.
Ninja Gaiden 4, sure.
Mm.
That's Platinum finally getting to do something cool.
Yeah.
That won't get shut down in less than a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is here. Grounded 2, but that's also part with another team.
Mm-hmm.
That's not on PlayStation. Considering Grounded's done pretty well on PlayStation from what I saw. But yeah, Mudang looks pretty cool. Planet of Planet 2. You know, a lot of the stuff seems like it's either almost out or it's who knows when.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, the interesting part about all of this though is even if like one specific show didn't quite hit, with everything that was shown this week, I mean, if you can't find anything to play, you probably have, bigger issues that you need to deal with,
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of good stuff here with a lot of different variety. And if you want, if you want shooters, you got that. If you want platformers, you got that. You want fighting games, you got. There's definitely stuff to play.
Yeah. Especially with Steam Next Fest, there's going to be more demos than you can handle. So.
Oh god, and their page for that is just terrible. So.
Yeah, even they gave up on trying to make a page for these showcases because I think they call it Steam's Summer Showcase, so summer showcases. And it's just a bunch of link to
just a bunch
pages
of
for these different showcases. Like, okay, what games are here? There's like 24, and you're like, oh god, which one has demos? And it's like, I don't know. Some of these do, some of these don't. I don't know. Maybe they're nice. They put them in a specific section. Some of them do, but some of them, like Summer Game Fest, just like, here's all of it.
Yeah.
Who cares? Even the one I looked at that I knew was a demo doesn't show there's a demo. I have to go to the page itself for Ratatan specifically. It's like, fuck all of you. So yeah, there you go. I guess we'll go around and sort of like a handful of things that really stood out for you. So how about you, Brandon?
Mina the Hollower, obviously. Clockwork Revolution also looks really good. God, there was a lot to go. There's a lot to go through. Let me see here. Let's see. Silent Hill F looks good. Let's see. Luminous Arise also looks good. Let's see. Code Vein 2 is definitely one I'm anticipating because I loved the first one. Atomic Hearts 2, in spite of the sort of mixed reaction I have for the first game, this looks pretty entertaining. Fractured Bloom is also something I want to look at because it looks like it's right up my alley. And speaking of stuff that's right up my alley, Neverway is also definitely something I want to look at because I'd already seen some of that about a month ago, and they showed some more, and I'm like, yeah, I want this. I want to play this. Outer Worlds 2, I still want to play it, even though I'm not sure about that price tag. The Blood of Dawnwalker is definitely something I'm anticipating because it's made up by former CD Projekt Red people. Let's see. A ways out, but yeah, that off the top of my head, that's about what I'm thinking.
How about you, Phil?
Well, the first one that stands out to me is Luminous Arise. I'm playing that day. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. I want that.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's the other one. I can't believe I forgot that one. Yeah, I'm definitely getting that one.
Yeah, Bloodstained. I'm definitely playing that. Blighted. I'm really interested in that one. What else can I see here? Yeah, Felt That Boxing. That just looks so stupid. I want to play it. It's just that's just awesome. Mina the Hollower just looks great. I need to play that. I'm kind of interested in checking out some of those Street Fighter 6 characters, see how they play inside of Street Fighter 6. Marvel Tokon honestly looks just bananas, so I kind of want to get my hands on that and give that. And Sonic Racing, Cross Worlds. That just looks cool. I'm looking forward to playing that one. I realized that the original about a year or so ago was, I mean, it was fine, but it kind of got rid of the, what made the last Transform unique, and this kind of solves that. So, yeah, kind of looking to play that one. And let's see, anything else here that really stands out? Yeah, honestly, Tire Boy just looks weird, and I think that I'd enjoy that one, and that's kind of about it.
Yeah. For me, yeah, definitely Lumina's Arise.
Hmm.
Time to get into another big puzzle game.
Mm.
Let's see, Baby Steps. That's one I've been looking forward to. It's just a very, very silly and weird game.
Mhm.
It looks like it's gonna keep being silly and weird, so that's exciting for me. Um, yeah, Sword of the Sea, another one I'm looking forward to. That'll be fun. Check out and see what the new game from Giant Squid is. Let's see what else here. Yeah, Blighted definitely one, though that's next year at some point, so I'll check it out. Then I'm already getting Mina the Hollower and Ratatan from
Mm.
Kickstarter stuff, so I'll enjoy those. But yeah, let me see. Probably something like Consume Me. That just seems like a fun thing. The way they presented that on the showcase was fun. As the woman that it's based on is very much just like matter of factly talking shit about herself and her virtual self
Mhm.
at the same time, in the way that is just fun. And yeah, that's uh that's some good stuff there. I'm trying to see if there's anything else here. Cairn, I'd like to check out in November. That'll be a neat looking game. Maybe Hiragami. I'll probably check out that demo at least and see how that feels. But yeah, a lot of good indie stuff here that I'm looking forward to. So yeah, yeah, I think that'll do it. Unless you guys have anything to add.
No, I'm good.
Oh, I'm good too.
All right, so yeah, let's start wrapping this up.
Hmm.
Thank you to Brandon and Phil for joining this week.
Always.
No
We'll
problem.
have Dan Rip back next week as he's down in Summer Game Fest playing a number of these things.
Mhm.
Um, that'll be fun. I think I definitely saw he showed us the schedule that he had and a couple things like, oh yeah, this is what this is. Okay. For some of these things. So yeah, he'll be back to talk about what he got to play there. Um, and probably his Switch 2 impressions as he's had that to play as well, in between other stuff he's been doing. So yeah. If you enjoy the show, for let friends and family know that they should check it out. Especially if you're excited for cool games and want that guy from the split game team to go fuck off to where he belongs.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a good week ahead.
Mhm.
We'll see you all next time. Have a good one.
Bye.